She was stranded with a lost child, and the millionaire who helped became impossible to let go. When a child's cry pierces through a spring storm, elementary school counselor Sienna Matthews doesn't hesitate. She stops everything to help. What she doesn't expect is the silver Aston Martin that pulls up beside her, or the blue-eyed CEO who steps out without caring about his $1,000 suit getting drenched. In 60 seconds, 3 strangers become bound by something neither Sienna nor Derek Calloway can explain. He's built an empire on calculated risks. She's spent years protecting her heart behind walls of independence. But when their eyes meet over a frightened child's trembling shoulders, both of them realize some forces can't be controlled. What happens when helping someone changes everything you thought you knew about love? Stay and find out. Welcome to Emotional Voyage. I'm so glad you're here to share this journey with me. If this content resonates with you, please hit the like button and subscribe. Your support helps me create even deeper, more meaningful videos for our community. Let's navigate these emotions together. The rain came out of nowhere that spring morning. Sienna Matthews was 3 blocks from Lincoln Elementary when the sky split open, turning Chicago's streets into rivers. She clutched her canvas tote against her chest, lesson plans for her 4th graders getting soaked despite her efforts, and ducked under the awning of a closed bookstore. That's when she heard it. Crying. High-pitched, terrified, cutting through the sound of rain hammering concrete. She turned, water dripping from her natural curls, and spotted him. A little boy, maybe 6 years old, standing in the middle of the sidewalk. No coat. No umbrella. Tears streaming down his brown cheeks as people rushed past him like he was invisible. Sienna didn't think. She ran. Hey, sweetheart. She knelt in front of him, her jeans soaking through instantly. Where's your mama? The boy hiccuped, words tumbling out between sobs. I don't know. We were at the bus stop and I saw a puppy and I followed it and now I can't find her and… Okay. Sienna pulled off her cardigan, her favorite one, the burgundy her mama had given her last Christmas, and wrapped it around his shaking shoulders. What's your name? Tyler. Tyler, I'm Miss Sienna. I work at a school just like yours, and I promise we're gonna find your mama, all right? She pulled out her phone. Dead. Of course. She'd forgotten to charge it last night after staying up late reviewing behavioral assessments. Excuse me. She flagged down a woman in a business suit. Can I borrow your phone? This child is… The woman barely glanced at them, hurrying past with her briefcase held over her head. Sienna tried again. And again. 5 people walked by without stopping. Her chest tightened, not with panic, but with that familiar anger that came from being invisible. She'd felt it her whole life. A black woman asking for help in a city that pretended not to see. Then she heard the engine. A silver Aston Martin, sleek, expensive, completely out of place on this rain-soaked South Side street, slowed to a stop beside them. The driver's door opened, and a man stepped out. Tall. Maybe 6'2". White, with dark hair already plastered to his forehead and a charcoal suit that probably cost more than her monthly rent. But it was his eyes that stopped her. Crystal blue, focused entirely on Tyler with an intensity that made her breath catch. Is he hurt? The man's voice was deep, urgent, as he crouched down to their level without hesitation. No, just lost. Sienna shifted slightly, instinctively protective. We're trying to find his mother. My phone's in the car. He was already moving, returning seconds later with an iPhone in a leather case. What's her number, buddy? Tyler's lip trembled. I don't remember. That's okay. The man's voice gentled in a way that surprised Sienna. Do you know your address? Tyler nodded, rattling off a street name 4 blocks north. The man stood, rain streaming down his face, and met Sienna's eyes. I can drive you both. It's not safe out here. Every warning her mama had ever given her flared to life. Don't get in cars with strangers. Don't trust just because he's got money. Don't let your guard down. But Tyler was shivering, and the rain was getting worse, and something in this man's face, the genuine concern, the way he didn't look at her like she was invisible, made her hesitate. "I'm Derek," he said, as if sensing her doubt. "Derek Calloway. I run a tech company downtown. I've got a nephew about his age. He ran a hand through his wet hair. "I can't leave a kid out here like this." Sienna studied him. His suit was ruined, he'd stepped into a puddle without even flinching. His eyes hadn't left Tyler except to meet hers with an openness that felt real. She made a decision. "I'm Sienna. And yeah, we'd appreciate the ride." The interior of the Aston Martin smelled like leather and rain. Tyler sat between them in the back. Derek had insisted on installing a seatbelt extender he apparently kept for his nephew, while his driver navigated the slick streets. "You work at Lincoln Elementary?" Derek asked, nodding toward her tote bag where her school ID dangled. "Counselor. Going on 6 years now. That's incredible." His voice held genuine admiration. "My sister's a teacher. Says it's the hardest job she's ever had." Sienna felt herself relax slightly. She's not wrong. But it's worth it when you see a kid finally believe in themselves. Tyler tugged her sleeve. "Miss Sienna, what if my mama's scared?" She squeezed his hand. "Baby, I promise she's looking for you right now. And we're gonna find her real soon." Derek's eyes met hers over Tyler's head, and something passed between them, a recognition, maybe. An understanding that some things mattered more than staying dry or being on time. When they pulled up to Tyler's building, a woman in scrubs came running down the steps, screaming his name. "Tyler! Oh my God, Tyler!" The reunion was tearful, frantic, beautiful. Tyler's mother, a nurse named Angela who'd been searching frantically, grabbed Sienna's hands, then Derek's, thanking them over and over until her voice broke. "You brought him home. You actually stopped and helped," and she pulled Sienna into a hug that smelled like hospital antiseptic and relief. "Thank you. Thank you." When they climbed back into the car, just the two of them now, the silence felt different. Charged. "I can drop you at Lincoln," Derek offered. "Actually." Sienna glanced at her watch. "I'm already late. My principals probably sent a search party." Derek smiled, and it transformed his face from handsome to devastating. "Then let's get you there fast." As they drove, Sienna caught him glancing at her 3 times. Not the way men usually looked at her, evaluating, dismissive, but with curiosity. Interest. When they pulled up to the school, she grabbed her soaked tote and turned to him. "Thank you. For stopping. Most people wouldn't have. Most people aren't worth knowing." His eyes held hers. "You were incredible back there. The way you calmed him down, made him feel safe." Heat crept up her neck. Just doing what anyone should do. But not everyone does. He hesitated, then pulled out a business card. "Look, this is gonna sound forward, but I'd like to buy you a coffee. To replace the cardigan you gave away." Sienna looked at the card. Derek Calloway, CEO, Calloway Technologies. CEO. Of course. She should say no. She had work, and her mama's doctor's appointment to reschedule, and a million reasons why a man in a suit that expensive didn't belong in her carefully controlled world. But when she looked up and saw the hope in his eyes, vulnerable, genuine, so unexpected, she found herself nodding. "Coffee sounds good." His smile could have powered the whole city. What would you do if a stranger's kindness made you question everything you thought you knew about letting people in? Drop a comment below. Have you ever met someone in the most unexpected way? Let's talk about it. Sienna told herself she wasn't waiting for his call. She told herself that as she checked her phone between counseling sessions. Told herself again when she found herself looking at his business card for the 5th time that evening, tracing the embossed letters with her thumb while her mama's TV droned in the background. "You gonna stare at that thing all night, or you gonna tell me who gave it to you?" Sienna looked up to find her mama standing in the doorway of her childhood bedroom, the one she'd moved back into 2 years ago when mama's diabetes had gotten worse. Lorraine Matthews stood there in her purple house robe, one eyebrow raised in that way that said she already knew the answer. It's nothing, Ma. Just somebody I met. Aha. Lorraine settled onto the edge of the bed, her weight making the old springs creak. And does this somebody have a name? Derek. Sienna couldn't help the small smile. He helped me with a lost kid the other day. He was really kind. Her mama's expression shifted, softened and sharpened at the same time. Kind how? Kind like he gave you directions, or kind like he's the reason you've been floating around here with your head in the clouds? Heat flooded Sienna's cheeks. Mama. Baby girl, I raised you. I know that look. Lorraine took her hand, her fingers worn but warm. Just be careful, all right? Kind men are rare, but sometimes kind men still break hearts without meaning to. The phone buzzed. Both of them looked at it. Sienna picked it up, her heart doing something stupid in her chest. Unknown number. Hi, this is Derek. From the rainstorm? I know it's late, but I've been thinking about that coffee. Would tomorrow work? I know a place that makes the best caramel latte in Chicago. D. She read it twice. Then a third time, catching on the casual way he'd signed it. Just D. Like they were already friends. Her mama leaned over, squinting at the screen, then smiled. Well, answer the man. Sienna's thumbs hovered over the keyboard. She could say no. Should say no. She had too much going on, her kids at school, her mama's next cardiology appointment, the grant proposal she'd been putting off for weeks. But she remembered the way Derek had looked at Tyler. The way he'd ruined his suit without a second thought. The way his eyes had held hers with something that felt like recognition. Sienna, tomorrow works. But I'm buying my own coffee. Professional courtesy. S. His response came in seconds. Derek, negotiating already? I like it. Moretto's Cafe, noon? And okay, you buy yours, I'll buy mine. But I'm getting you a pastry and you can't stop me. Sienna laughed out loud. Sienna, deal. See you at noon. Her mama was grinning. Oh, you got it bad already. I do not. Baby, I've been on this earth 58 years. Trust me. You got it bad. Moretto's Cafe sat in a tree-lined neighborhood that Sienna usually only passed through on her way downtown. The kind of place where people sat outside with tiny dogs and newspapers, where the espresso machine cost more than her car. She almost turned around 3 times. But then she saw him through the window. Derek, sitting at a corner table, nervously straightening the silverware. He wore jeans and a navy Henley, his hair slightly mussed like he'd been running his hands through it. He looked normal. Nervous. Human. It made her brave. The bell chimed when she walked in, and his head snapped up. His entire face transformed when he smiled. You came. You sound surprised. She slid into the seat across from him, suddenly hyper-aware of her yellow sundress, the one her best friend Tasha had insisted made her look like sunshine. Honestly? A little. He rubbed the back of his neck. I thought maybe you'd look me up, see the ridiculous Forbes article from last year, and decide I was too much trouble. I don't read Forbes. Good. That article made me sound like a robot who only cares about quarterly earnings. He signaled the waiter. What are you having? Caramel latte. And before you ask, yes, I'm still buying it myself. Stubborn. Independent. I'm learning that. His eyes sparkled. What about food? They have these almond croissants that'll change your life. Sienna raised an eyebrow. Big claim. I stand by it. When the waiter came, a young guy with an eyebrow piercing who clearly recognized Derek but was trying to play it cool, Derek ordered 2 caramel lattes and 2 almond croissants with an ease that said he'd done this 1,000 times. But when he looked back at Sienna, there was nothing practiced about his expression. So, he said, tell me about the kids. The kids. At Lincoln. You said you've been a counselor for 6 years. That's a long time. You must really love it. Something in Sienna's chest loosened. Men didn't usually ask about her work. Didn't care about the hard parts, the beautiful parts, the parts that kept her up at night worrying about a 10-year-old with bruises she couldn't explain. But Derek leaned forward, elbows on the table, giving her his full attention. So she told him. About Marcus. No, wait, about David, a third grader who'd been acting out until Sienna discovered he was being bullied for his stutter. About Jasmine, who'd written her a note saying you're the only grown-up who listens. About the small victories that kept her going when the system felt broken and the funding kept getting cut. Derek listened to every word. Didn't check his phone once. Asked questions that proved he was actually hearing her, not just waiting for his turn to talk. That's incredible, he said when she finally paused for breath. You're literally changing lives every single day. I don't know about that. I do. His voice was firm. My nephew, the one I mentioned? He had a counselor like you when his parents were going through a divorce. She saved him. Gave him a safe place when everything else was falling apart. He met her eyes. What you do matters, Sienna. More than most people will ever understand. Her throat tightened. Thank you. I mean it. The croissants arrived, golden, flaky, still warm. Sienna took a bite and actually moaned. Derek's grin was triumphant. Told you. Okay, fine. Life-changing might be accurate. They talked for 2 hours. About everything and nothing. Derek told her about starting his company in his garage 8 years ago, about the sister who kept him humble, about how success felt empty sometimes when you didn't have anyone to share it with. Sienna told him about her mama's health, about moving back home to help, about how her friends thought she was crazy for putting her life on hold. You're not crazy, Derek said quietly. You're loyal. That's rare. She raised me by herself. Worked 2 jobs so I could go to college. It's my turn to take care of her. She's lucky to have you. I'm lucky to have her. The cafe had started to empty out when Derek finally checked his watch and swore softly. I have a board meeting in 20 minutes. I completely lost track of time. Me too. Sienna gathered her purse, surprised to find she didn't want this to end. They walked outside together, and the spring afternoon had turned golden, the kind of light that made Chicago look like a painting. Derek turned to her on the sidewalk, his hands in his pockets, looking younger than 38. Vulnerable. Can I see you again? Sienna's heart hammered. Yeah. I'd like that. This weekend? There's an art festival in Millennium Park. I know it's touristy, but I love art festivals. His smile could have lit up the whole street. Saturday. I can pick you up. I'll meet you there. She said it gently, but firmly. Baby steps. She wasn't ready for him to see her neighborhood, her mama's small house with the peeling paint and the garden full of tomatoes. If Derek was disappointed, he didn't show it. Fair enough. 2 o'clock, by the Cloud Gate. The Bean, you mean? I knew you'd call it that. He laughed, and the sound did something dangerous to her resolve. They stood there for a moment, neither quite ready to leave, until Derek's phone buzzed insistently. I really have to go. Your board's waiting. He started to walk backward, still looking at her. Text me when you get home? So I know you made it safely. Derek, it's 2 in the afternoon. Humor me. She rolled her eyes, but she was smiling. Fine. Saturday, Sienna. I'm already counting the days. He turned and jogged toward a sleek black car idling at the curb. Not the Aston Martin, something more understated, and Sienna watched him go, her heart doing things that terrified and thrilled her in equal measure. Her phone buzzed. Derek, already miss you. Too soon to say that. Probably. Don't care. D. Sienna bit her lip to keep from grinning like a fool on a public sidewalk. Sienna, maybe a little too soon. Ask me again on Saturday. S. Derek, counting on it. When she got home, her mama was at the kitchen table, sorting her pills into her weekly organizer. Well. Lorraine looked up, eyebrows raised. How was the coffee? Sienna set down her purse, trying to compose her face into something neutral. Failed completely. Ma, I think I'm in trouble. Her mama's smile was slow and knowing. Baby girl, that's not trouble. That's the beginning of something beautiful. I can see it all over your face. It's too fast. I barely know him. Your daddy proposed to me after 3 weeks. We had 22 good years before the cancer took him. Lorraine reached across the table, squeezing Sienna's hand. Sometimes you just know. And baby, you're glowing. When's the last time I saw you glow like this? Sienna couldn't remember. He wants to see me Saturday. Then you better figure out what you're gonna wear. That night, Sienna lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, her phone on her chest. It buzzed. Derek, still thinking about you. Sleep well, Sienna. D. She smiled in the darkness, her heart already half gone. Sienna, you too, Derek. See you Saturday. Have you ever had a first date that felt like coming home? Drop a comment and tell us, what's the moment you knew someone was special? And what do you think Derek's planning for Saturday? Saturday arrived wrapped in perfect weather, cerulean sky, gentle breeze, the kind of day that made Chicago feel like the best city in the world. Sienna changed outfits 4 times. The blue one, her mama called from the hallway. Shows off your shoulders. And wear those gold hoops I got you for your birthday. Ma, it's an art festival, not the Oscars. Baby, when a man looks at you the way I suspect this one does, every day is the Oscars. Lorraine appeared in the doorway, leaning on her cane, the one she'd been using more often lately, though she tried to hide it. Now let me see you. Sienna turned. The cobalt wrap dress hugged her curves, the gold hoops caught the light, and her curls were twisted up in a way that had taken 40 minutes and 3 YouTube tutorials. Her mama's eyes got misty. You look just like I did when I met your daddy. Beautiful and terrified. I'm not terrified. Liar. Sienna kissed her cheek. I'll be home by 8. Your dinner's in the fridge, pills are on the counter. Girl, I raised you. I think I can manage 6 hours without burning the house down. But Lorraine squeezed her hand. Go. Be young. Let yourself feel something good. Millennium Park was packed. Sienna wove through the crowd, past families with strollers and tourists posing with the bean, her heart hammering against her ribs. She was 10 minutes early, intentionally, wanting a moment to breathe before she saw him. But then she heard her name. Sienna. She turned, and her breath caught. Derek stood by the Cloud Gate sculpture in dark jeans and a white linen shirt rolled to his elbows, holding 2 cups of lemonade and wearing a smile that made her forget every reason she'd told herself to be careful. You're early, he said as she approached. So are you. Couldn't wait. He handed her a lemonade, his fingers brushing hers. The touch sent electricity up her arm. You look, wow. Just, wow. Heat crept up her neck. You clean up pretty nice yourself. This old thing. He gestured at his outfit, and she laughed, the nervousness dissolving like sugar in water. They started walking, falling into step like they'd done this 100 times. The art festival stretched before them, white tents housing everything from watercolors to sculptures, musicians playing on corners, the smell of kettle corn and grilled food mixing with the lake breeze. So what are we looking for? Derek asked. I don't know. Something that speaks to us, I guess. Then we better listen carefully. They wandered for an hour, stopping at booths that caught their eye. Derek gravitated toward the abstract pieces, bold splashes of color that shouldn't work together but somehow did. Sienna loved the portraits, the ones that captured something real and raw in a stranger's eyes. At a booth featuring mixed media collages, Derek stopped. The piece was stunning, a black woman's silhouette filled with images of books, classroom desks, children's handprints, all layered beneath the words she taught them to fly. It's you, Derek said softly. Sienna stared at it, her throat tight. It's beautiful. How much? Derek asked the artist, an elderly woman with paint-stained fingers. That one's 1,200. Sienna's eyes widened. Derek, no. But he was already pulling out his wallet. Derek. She grabbed his wrist, her voice firm but gentle. Response type B, the negotiator. I appreciate it, I really do. But I can't let you buy me something that expensive. We barely know each other. His face fell slightly, but he nodded. You're right. I'm sorry, I saw it and thought of you, and I wasn't thinking. The artist smiled knowingly. Tell you what. I do payment plans. $20 a month. No interest. Piece doesn't leave my studio until it's paid off, but it's yours. Sienna looked at the collage again, at the way the light hit the woman's silhouette, at the hope embedded in every layer. Deal, she said. Derek's smile returned, softer this time. Can I at least cover the first month? She considered, then nodded. First month only. The rest is mine. You're stubborn as hell. You're learning. As they walked away, Sienna clutching a receipt with a pickup date 6 months in the future, Derek took her hand. Just laced his fingers through hers like it was the most natural thing in the world. She should have pulled away. Should have maintained boundaries. She didn't. They were admiring a sculpture made entirely of recycled metal when Sienna heard the camera clicks. 3 of them, rapid fire. She turned and saw a man in a baseball cap, professional camera with a telephoto lens, backing away into the crowd. Derek's entire body tensed. Damn it. What? Paparazzi. He said it like a curse, dropping her hand and running his fingers through his hair. I'm sorry, I should have warned you, they've been following me since that stupid Forbes feature. Wait, what? Sienna's stomach dropped. Following you? Like, regularly. Sometimes. Not always, but. He looked miserable. Sienna, there's something I should have told you. About my company, about how visible I've become in the last year. I didn't want to lead with it because people treat me differently when they know, but. How visible are we talking? Derek pulled out his phone, typed something, and handed it to her. The Forbes article filled the screen. Derek Calloway, 38. How a garage startup became a $200 million empire. Sienna scrolled. Photos of Derek at charity galas in tuxedos. Derek shaking hands with the mayor. Derek on a panel with tech giants she'd actually heard of. $200 million. The number made her dizzy. You said multi-million, she said slowly. I thought you meant. I don't know, 5 million. Maybe 10. Would it have mattered? I don't know. She thrust the phone back at him, her mind racing. Derek, I'm an elementary school counselor. I make $43,000 a year. I live with my mama in a house where the AC breaks every summer. That photo that guy just took. It's gonna end up on some gossip site with people asking what the hell a man like you is doing with someone like me. Someone like you? Derek's voice sharpened. You mean someone brilliant? Someone who dedicates her life to helping kids? Someone who literally gave a stranger the shirt off her back in the rain? Someone who doesn't belong in your world? The words hung between them, raw and jagged. Derek stepped closer, his voice dropping. Sienna, I don't care about worlds. I care about the fact that I haven't stopped thinking about you for 5 days straight. That when I'm in board meetings, I'm wondering what you're doing. That I've been walking around like a damn teenager with a crush because for the first time in years, I met someone who sees me, not my bank account. But that picture might show up online, might not, and if it does. He took her hand again, holding it like it was something precious. Then people will see me with the most incredible woman I've ever met. I'm not ashamed of that, Sienna. The question is, are you? She looked at him, really looked. At the vulnerability in his eyes, the hope, the fear that mirrored her own. I'm not ashamed, she said quietly. I'm scared. Of what? Of this being temporary. Of you realizing I don't fit. Of my mama seeing me heartbroken when this falls apart. Her voice cracked. Of falling for you and losing myself in the process. Derek lifted her hand to his lips, kissing her knuckles softly. The gesture was so tender it made her eyes sting. I can't promise I won't mess this up, he said. I'm new at this, at wanting something real instead of just easy. But I can promise I'll try. Every single day, I'll try. And if it gets too much, if the attention or the pressure or any of it becomes too much, you tell me and we figure it out. Together. Together, she echoed. Yeah. His smile was tentative, beautiful. Kinda like how we handled Tyler. You and me, working as a team. We were pretty damn good at that. Despite everything, Sienna laughed. We were, weren't we? So what do you say? Derek asked. Can we try this? For real. No more secrets about who I am or what comes with it, just honest and messy and figuring it out as we go. Sienna thought about her mama's words. Sometimes you just know. She thought about how Derek had looked at Tyler. How he'd listened to her talk about her kids for 2 hours straight. How his hand felt wrapped around hers, safe and right and terrifying. Okay, she breathed. Let's try. Derek's entire face lit up. Yeah. But I have conditions. Of course you do. He was grinning now. Hit me. 1. You tell me the truth. About all of it. The money, the attention, what I'm walking into. Done. 2. My mama meets you. Soon. Because if she doesn't approve, this doesn't go any further. I'd expect nothing less. 3. You let me pay my own way sometimes. I don't need rescuing, Derek. I need a partner. He sobered, squeezing her hand. I can do that. I want to do that. Then we have a deal. Best deal I've ever made. He kissed her then, right there in the middle of Millennium Park, with 100 strangers walking past and probably another photographer lurking somewhere. He cupped her face in his hands and kissed her soft and slow, like they had all the time in the world. Sienna's head spun. Her heart hammered. Her hands found his chest, feeling his heartbeat racing just as fast as hers. When they broke apart, Derek rested his forehead against hers. I'm gonna fall for you, he whispered. I'm already halfway there. That's terrifying. Yeah. He smiled against her lips. But I think you're worth being terrified. They spent the rest of the afternoon wrapped up in each other, sharing bites of street food, laughing at terrible art, talking about everything and nothing. When the sun started to set, painting the sky in shades of amber and rose, Derek walked her to the train station. I could drive you, he offered. And let you see my neighborhood before I'm ready? Nice try. She kissed his cheek. Baby steps, remember? Baby steps, he agreed. Text me when you're home? Always. On the train ride home, Sienna's phone buzzed. She expected Derek. Instead, it was a link from her best friend Tasha. Girl, is this you? The gossip site loaded slowly, and then there it was. A photo of her and Derek holding hands by the bean. The headline, Chicago's hottest CEO has a mystery woman, and she's gorgeous. Her phone rang immediately. Tasha. Sienna Matthews, you better start talking right now. Sienna leaned back against the train seat, watching the city blur past, and smiled. Tasha, she said, I think I'm in trouble. Good trouble or bad trouble? She thought about Derek's kiss. His promise. The way her heart felt too big for her chest. I honestly have no idea. When she got home, her mama was waiting in the living room, laptop open, the same gossip article on the screen. Ma. Baby girl. Lorraine looked up, her expression unreadable. That's him. Your coffee man. Yeah. That's him. A long pause. Then her mama smiled, slow and warm and full of something that looked like pride. When do I meet him? Next weekend. Good. I'll make my pot roast. And baby. Lorraine closed the laptop. He looks at you like you hung the moon. Don't let the money scare you. Let the love in. Sienna's eyes burned. What if it doesn't last? Then it doesn't. But what if it does? That night, curled up in bed, Sienna's phone lit up. Derek. Just saw the article. You okay? Sienna. Surprisingly yes. My mama wants to meet you. Derek. When? I'll be there. I'll bring flowers. Wine. Should I wear a suit? Is that too much? I'm panicking. Sienna laughed out loud. Sienna. Just bring yourself. Saturday, 6 p.m. I'll text you the address. Derek. I'll be counting the minutes. Sleep well, beautiful. Dream of me. Sienna. Maybe. Don't let it go to your head. Derek. Too late. Already there. Good night, Sienna. She fell asleep smiling, her heart already lost. Have you ever had a first kiss that made the whole world disappear? Drop a comment and tell us, was it worth the wait? And what do you think Mama Lorraine's really going to say when she meets Derek face to face? Derek had faced hostile boardrooms, pitched to venture capitalists who could destroy his company with a single no. Stood on stages in front of thousands. None of it compared to standing on Lorraine Matthews' front porch with a bouquet of peonies in one hand and a bottle of wine in the other, his heart trying to break through his ribcage. The house was small, pale yellow siding with white trim, a garden bursting with tomatoes and marigolds, a porch swing that had seen better decades. It was nothing like his penthouse downtown, nothing like the world he'd built for himself. It was perfect. He rang the doorbell. The door opened, and there she was. Sienna wore a simple coral sundress that made her skin glow like amber in the evening light. Her curls were loose around her shoulders, and she was barefoot, painted toenails, no pretense, just her. Derek forgot how to breathe. Hi, she said, and was she nervous? Her hands twisted together, and he wanted to take them, kiss each knuckle, tell her she had nothing to worry about. Hi yourself. He held out the peonies. I wasn't sure what your mama liked, so I asked the florist for something that says, please don't hate the guy who's falling for your daughter. Sienna's laugh broke the tension. Did you really say that to the florist? Word for word. She thought it was adorable. Or pathetic. I couldn't tell. Come here. Sienna grabbed his tie, he'd worn the navy one, not too formal, not too casual, and pulled him down for a kiss that tasted like cinnamon lip gloss and promises. When she pulled back, her eyes were dancing. For the record. You look terrified, and it's kind of cute. I am terrified. Your mama's opinion matters. I know. She straightened his tie, her fingers lingering on his chest. That's why I'm kissing you now, before she makes you sweat through dinner. Sienna Marie Matthews. A voice called from inside. Are you gonna let that man stand on the porch all night, or are you gonna bring him in here so I can get a good look at him? Sienna rolled her eyes. That's your cue. Derek followed her inside, and the smell hit him first. Pot roast, garlic, something baking that made his mouth water. The living room was cozy, filled with photos on every surface. Sienna at graduations, Sienna as a little girl missing her front teeth, an older photo of a young black couple on their wedding day, joy radiating from the faded print. That's my parents, Sienna said softly, following his gaze. My daddy passed when I was 19. Pancreatic cancer. I'm sorry. Derek studied the photo, saw Sienna's smile in her father's face, her determination in her mother's eyes. Me too. But we had him longer than the doctors said we would. That counts for something. Derek Calloway. The voice made him turn. Lorraine Matthews stood in the kitchen doorway, leaning on her cane, wearing a purple blouse and black slacks. She was shorter than Sienna, rounder, with silver threading through her black hair and eyes that missed absolutely nothing. Derek crossed to her, extending his hand. Mrs. Matthews. Thank you for having me in your home. She looked at his hand for a long moment, long enough that Derek's throat went dry, then took it. Her grip was firm, assessing. Lorraine. Mrs. Matthews makes me feel old. She tilted her head, studying him like she could see straight through to his soul. You're taller than you look in the pictures. Ma. Sienna groaned. What? I looked him up. Got to make sure my baby girl isn't getting herself tangled up with some serial killer. Lorraine released his hand, her expression softening slightly. That wine better not be cheap. Derek held up the bottle. Chateau Margaux, 2015. I asked the sommelier for something special. Aha. You always ask sommeliers for help, or just when you're trying to impress somebody's mama. Ma. Sienna's face had gone hot. But Derek laughed, genuine, surprised. Just when I'm trying to impress somebody's mama. Most days, I drink whatever's in the fridge. Lorraine's lips twitched. Almost a smile. We'll see. Dinner's ready. Sienna, set the table. Derek, you can help. The next 20 minutes were controlled chaos. Derek followed Sienna into the small kitchen, acutely aware of how close they had to stand in the tight space. Every time she reached past him for plates, her arm brushed his. When he handed her the silverware, their fingers tangled. Stop looking at me like that, she whispered as her mama's back was turned. Like what? Like you want to skip dinner entirely. Heat shot through him. Can't help it. You're distracting. Devastating. His voice dropped lower. Do you have any idea what that dress is doing to me? Sienna's breath caught. Her eyes met his, dark and electric. Derek. Salad bowls. Lorraine called. They in the top cabinet? Yes, Ma. Sienna called back, but her gaze stayed locked on Derek's for 3 more heartbeats, and the air between them crackled with everything they weren't saying. At the dinner table, Derek tried to focus on the food, which was incredible, melt-in-your-mouth tender beef with roasted vegetables and rolls so soft they had to be homemade. This is amazing, Lorraine, he said, and meant it. My mama couldn't cook to save her life. We lived on takeout. Your mama still around? Lorraine asked. Yeah. Retired in Arizona with my stepdad. We talk every Sunday. He took a sip of wine. She's already asking when she gets to meet Sienna. Sienna nearly choked on her water. Derek. What? She saw the article. Called me at 6 in the morning screaming about how I finally found someone who might put up with me. Lorraine laughed, a real one this time, warm and rich. I like your mama already. The conversation flowed easier after that. Derek asked about Lorraine's career, 30 years as a nurse, retired 5 years ago when the diabetes got bad. Lorraine asked about his company, and Derek found himself explaining it in a way he never had before, stripping away the jargon, talking about the actual mission. Creating software that helped small businesses compete with corporate giants. So you're not just making rich people richer? Lorraine asked, eyebrow raised. No, ma'am. I'm trying to level the playing field. Good. Rich for the sake of rich is useless. Rich with purpose? That's worth something. Under the table, Sienna's foot found his. A gentle press, approval and affection wrapped in a simple touch. Derek pressed back, and her lips curved. So, Lorraine said, spearing a carrot with her fork. What are your intentions with my daughter? Ma. Sienna buried her face in her hands. But Derek met Lorraine's gaze head-on. Honest answer? That's the only kind I accept. I'm falling for her. He felt Sienna go still beside him. I know it's fast. I know we've only known each other a week. But I haven't felt like this, ever. She makes me want to be better. Do better. And if she'll let me, I'd like to see where this goes. At her pace, on her terms. The silence stretched. Then Lorraine nodded slowly. That's a good answer. But let me tell you something, Derek Calloway. She leaned forward, her voice steel wrapped in velvet. My baby girl has spent her whole life taking care of other people. She put her own dreams on hold to help me when I got sick. She gives everything to those kids at school, comes home exhausted, and still finds time to make sure I've taken my medicine and eaten right. Ma, you don't have to. Hush. I'm talking. Lorraine's eyes never left Derek's. What I'm saying is, Sienna doesn't know how to let people take care of her. She thinks needing somebody makes her weak. So if you're serious, if this isn't just some rich boy fantasy where you play pretty woman for a few weeks, then you better be ready for the long haul. You better be ready for her to push you away when things get hard, for her to test whether you'll stay. And you better prove, every single day, that you're worth the risk she's taking on you. Derek's throat was tight. I will. I promise you, I will. Lorraine studied him for a long moment, then sat back. All right then. Who wants peach cobbler? After dinner, Lorraine shooed them out to the porch. Give me some time to judge you without you watching, she'd said with a wink, and Derek found himself on the swing next to Sienna, the night warm and alive with cricket song. I'm sorry about that, Sienna said, her head on his shoulder. She can be intense. She's protecting you. I respect the hell out of that. He kissed her hair. Besides, she's right. About what? About you not knowing how to let people in. He felt her stiffen, and rushed on. Sienna, you've been taking care of everyone else for so long, you've forgotten you deserve to be taken care of too. I don't need. I know you don't need it. You're the strongest person I've ever met. He tilted her chin up, forcing her to look at him. But wanting it. Letting someone share the weight? That's not weakness. That's trust. Her eyes glistened. I don't know if I know how. Then let me teach you. His thumb traced her jaw, and she shivered. Let me bring you coffee when you've had a hard day. Let me listen when you need to vent about work. Let me take your mama to her doctor's appointments so you don't have to choose between her and your kids at school. Derek. I'm not trying to rescue you. I'm trying to partner with you. There's a difference. A tear slipped down her cheek. He caught it with his thumb. You really mean that, she whispered. Every word. Sienna kissed him then, hungry and desperate and full of everything she couldn't say. Derek groaned against her mouth, his hands sliding into her hair, angling her head to deepen the kiss. She tasted like peaches and promise, and when her tongue touched his, heat exploded through his entire body. Sienna, he breathed against her lips. We should stop. Why? Her teeth caught his bottom lip, and he saw stars. Because your mama's inside, and I'm trying to make a good impression, and if you keep kissing me like that, I'm going to. She pulled back, her eyes molten. Going to what? Say things I'm not ready to say yet. Feel things that are probably too much too soon. Like what? Derek cupped her face, his forehead pressed to hers, their breath mingling in the small space between them. Like I think I'm falling in love with you. Like I lie awake at night thinking about you. Like when I'm in meetings, I'm planning where I want to take you next, what I want to show you, how I want to make you smile. Sienna's hands fisted in his shirt. Derek. I know it's crazy. I know it's too fast. But God, Sienna, you've wrecked me. Completely wrecked me. Good. Her voice was fierce. Because you've wrecked me too. They kissed again, slower this time, savoring. Derek poured everything into it, every promise, every hope, every fear that this was too good to last. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Sienna rested her head on his chest. Stay, she whispered. Just for a little while longer. I'll stay as long as you want me. What if I want you forever? His heart stopped. Started again, faster. Then I guess I'm yours forever. They sat like that, wrapped around each other on the porch swing, until the stars came out and Lorraine called from inside that it was getting late and Derek should probably head home before the neighbors started gossiping. At his car, a Tesla tonight, something that wouldn't scream billionaire in this neighborhood, Sienna walked him down the driveway. She liked you, Sienna said. She pretended not to, but she did. I could tell. How? She gave you the last piece of cobbler. She only does that for people she approves of. Derek's grin was triumphant. I knew those flowers were a good call. It wasn't the flowers, idiot. It was you. She kissed him softly. Just you. Tomorrow, he asked. Lunch? I know a place. I have parent-teacher conferences until 6. Dinner then. I'll pick you up from school. Derek, you can't just show up at Lincoln in a Tesla. Fine. I'll Uber. I'll take the bus. I'll walk. I don't care, Sienna. I just want to see you. She laughed, the sound filling up all the empty places in his chest. Dinner. But somewhere low-key. Pizza, or something. Best pizza in Chicago, coming up. He kissed her one more time, meant for it to be quick, a simple goodbye, but Sienna melted against him and it turned into something else entirely. Something that promised everything and demanded nothing and scared him with its intensity. When he finally drove away, she was still standing in the driveway, bathed in porch light, watching him go. Derek's phone buzzed at the first stoplight. Sienna, Ma says you're a keeper. High praise. Don't let it go to your head. Derek, too late. Already planning our wedding. You want spring or fall? Sienna. Derek. Derek. Kidding. Mostly. Okay, not really. Good night, beautiful. Dream of me. Sienna. Always. He drove home with his heart in his throat and her taste still on his lips, already counting the hours until he could see her again. Back on the porch, Lorraine found Sienna still staring down the empty street. He's gone, baby. You can come inside now. Sienna turned, her face glowing. Ma, I think I'm in love with him. I know, baby. I saw it the second you opened that door. Lorraine held out her hand. Question is, what are you gonna do about it? I don't know. It's so fast. What if? What if it works? Lorraine squeezed her hand. What if you stop waiting for the other shoe to drop and just let yourself be happy? That man looks at you like you're his whole world. Don't punish him for your fear. Sienna's eyes filled. I'm scared, Ma. Good. That means it matters. Now come on inside. We got dishes to wash and a whole lot to talk about. That night, curled in bed, Sienna touched her lips, still feeling Derek's kiss like a brand. Her phone lit up. Derek, can't sleep. Keep thinking about you on that porch swing. About how you fit perfectly against me. About how I want 1,000 more nights just like this. Sienna. Derek, it's 2 a.m. Derek, I know. Sorry. I just needed you to know. Sienna, I can't sleep either. Keep thinking about your hands in my hair. The way you taste. The way you said you're falling for me. Derek. Sienna. Sienna. Yeah? Derek. This is real for me. I need you to know that. This isn't some game or fantasy. You're real. We're real. Sienna stared at the screen, her heart too full, and typed the truest thing she'd ever written. Sienna. It's real for me too. And that terrifies me. Derek. Then let's be terrified together. See you tomorrow, beautiful. She fell asleep with her phone clutched to her chest and dreams full of blue eyes and promises that felt like forever. That chemistry. Have you ever felt a connection so intense it scared you? Comment below, what's the moment you knew someone had completely wrecked your heart? And what do you think happens when Derek shows up at Sienna's school tomorrow? The last parent had left 20 minutes ago. Sienna sat at her desk, surrounded by student files and half-graded assignments, her head pounding from 3 hours of conferences. Mrs. Chen, no, Mrs. Park, had cried about her son's anxiety. Mr. Rodriguez had yelled about homework policies. The Johnsons had thanked her for saving their daughter's life, and Sienna had smiled and said, just doing my job, while her heart cracked open. She was exhausted. Wrung out. Empty. Her phone buzzed. Derek, still there? I'm outside. Her heart jumped. She'd forgotten. No, She'd remembered and tried not to hope too hard that he'd actually come. Sienna grabbed her bag and hurried through the empty hallways, her flats squeaking on linoleum. Through the front doors, she saw him. Derek stood beside a yellow cab in the pouring rain, no umbrella, his white dress shirt plastered to his chest, hair dripping into his eyes. He held a single sunflower, her favorite. How did he know? And when he saw her, his face transformed. She pushed through the doors. "You're soaking wet," she said. "So are you now." She was. Rain drenched her in seconds, but she didn't care because Derek was crossing to her, and the way he looked at her made her forget her own name. "Bad day?" he asked softly. "Long day." Her voice cracked. "Really long. Come here." He pulled her against him, and Sienna broke. Just folded into his chest and let the tears come. For the kids she couldn't save, for the parents she couldn't reach, for the weight she carried alone every single day. Derek held her through it, one hand in her hair, the other wrapped around her waist, his lips pressed to her temple. "I've got you," he murmured. "I've got you, baby." The endearment undid her completely. When she finally pulled back, mascara probably running, nose definitely red, she found him watching her with such tenderness it hurt. "You called me baby," she whispered. "I did." His thumb traced her cheek. "That okay?" "Yeah." She caught his hand, pressed a kiss to his palm. "More than okay." "Good. Because I've been wanting to say it for days." He studied her face, rain streaming between them. "Talk to me. What happened?" So she told him. About the kids falling through cracks in the system. About parents who cared but didn't have resources. About feeling helpless in a broken machine. Derek listened to every word, his hands never leaving her, grounding her. "You're not helpless," he said when she finished. "You're there. You show up. You give a damn. That matters more than you know. It doesn't feel like enough. It's everything to those kids, Sienna. You're everything." She kissed him then, couldn't help it, couldn't wait. Rose on her toes and claimed his mouth like she was drowning and he was air. Derek made a sound low in his throat, his arms tightening, lifting her slightly off the ground. The kiss was desperate, hungry, tasting like rain and need and something deeper she didn't have words for yet. "Sienna," he breathed against her lips. "God, Sienna. Take me somewhere." Her hands fisted in his soaked shirt. "Anywhere. I need to not think for a while." His eyes darkened. "Are you sure?" "I'm sure I want to be with you. That's all I'm sure of right now." Derek kissed her forehead, her nose, her lips again, softer this time. "Okay. I know a place." The place was his penthouse. Sienna's breath caught when they stepped off the private elevator, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the glittering city, modern furniture in shades of gray and cream, art that probably cost more than her car. "Derek, this is too much." He looked genuinely worried. "We can go somewhere else. I just thought you might want somewhere private to decompress." She turned to him, this beautiful man who'd stood in the rain for her, who listened like her words mattered, who looked at her like she was precious. "It's perfect." He exhaled. "I'll get you some dry clothes. Make yourself comfortable." But when he moved to leave, Sienna caught his wrist. "Wait." Her heart hammered. "Stay. Just stay with me for a minute." Derek's eyes searched hers, and whatever he saw made his breath hitch. "Sienna. I know what I'm asking." She stepped closer, her hand sliding up his chest to rest over his heart. It thundered beneath her palm. "I know this is fast. I know we should probably slow down. But Derek, when I'm with you, everything makes sense. Everything quiet downs. And I need that right now. I need you. You have me." His voice was rough, raw. "You've had me since that first day in the rain. Maybe even before that, like I was just waiting for you to show up and wreck my entire world." "I wrecked your world. Completely." He cupped her face, his thumbs stroking her cheeks. "And I don't want to go back to what it was before." Sienna, She saw it in his eyes. Felt it in the way his hands trembled against her skin. Say it, she whispered. Please say it. I love you. The words fell between them like a vow. I know it's been 2 weeks. I know it's insane. But I love you, Sienna Matthews. I love your strength and your compassion and the way you give everything to everyone else. I love how you negotiate coffee dates and pay for your own art. I love that you made me meet your mama and didn't care about my money. I love you, and I'm terrified, and I don't care because it's true. Sienna's eyes flooded. Derek. You don't have to say it back. I just needed you to know. Shut up. She laughed through tears. Just shut up and let me say it. I love you too. I've been falling since you stepped out of that car for Tyler. Since you listened to me talk about my kids like they mattered. Since you looked at my mama with respect and held me when I cried and made me believe that maybe, just maybe, I deserve something good. Derek kissed her then, slow and deep and reverent, like she was something holy. His hand slid into her wet hair, angling her head, and Sienna melted against him, every wall she'd ever built crumbling to dust. I love you, he murmured against her lips. I love you. I love you. Show me. She pulled back just enough to meet his eyes. Show me, Derek. He swept her into his arms, carrying her toward the bedroom, his eyes never leaving hers. Are you sure? He asked one more time at the threshold. Sienna answered by kissing him breathless, by whispering, I've never been more sure of anything, against his mouth, by giving herself over completely to this feeling. This man, this love that had ambushed them both. Outside, the rain continued to fall on the city below, washing everything clean. That confession. Have you ever loved someone so fast it scared you? Drop a comment. What's the most romantic thing someone's ever said to you? And do you think their love can survive what's coming next? Sienna woke wrapped in Egyptian cotton sheets and Derek's arms. For a moment, one perfect, crystalline moment, everything was right. His heartbeat steady beneath her cheek, his fingers tracing lazy circles on her shoulder, morning light painting his penthouse gold. Morning, beautiful, he murmured, voice rough with sleep. She tilted her head up, found him already watching her with those devastating blue eyes. Hi. Hi yourself. He kissed her forehead, her nose, her lips, soft and sweet and full of promise. Sleep okay. Best sleep of my life. Good. Because I'm never letting you leave this bed. Sienna laughed, the sound bright and free. I have work in 2 hours. Call in sick. Derek. Tell them you've been compromised by a lovesick CEO who's discovered that watching you sleep is his new favorite hobby. His hand slid down her spine, making her shiver. Tell them you're busy being worshipped. Heat flooded her. Your trouble. You love it. I love you. The words still felt new, terrifying, perfect. Derek's eyes went molten. Say it again. I love you, Derek Calloway. He rolled her beneath him, settling between her thighs, his mouth finding that sensitive spot below her ear. Again. I love, oh God, I love you. Her phone exploded. Not one buzz. A cacophony, texts, calls, notifications screaming one after another like an alarm she couldn't silence. Derek groaned against her neck. Ignore it. But something cold slithered down Sienna's spine. She reached for the phone on the nightstand. 17 missed calls. 43 texts. All from Tasha. Her principal. Numbers she didn't recognize. Derek, something's wrong. He pulled back immediately, concern replacing desire. What is it? She opened Tasha's messages, and her world tilted. Tasha, Sienna, call me now. Tasha, girl, the pictures are everywhere. Tasha, TMZ picked it up. Tasha, your principal's calling an emergency meeting. Tasha, where are you? No. The word came out strangled. No, no, no. Derek took the phone gently, his face going pale as he scrolled. Jesus Christ. The photos loaded. Professional quality. Taken through Derek's penthouse windows with a telephoto lens. Her and Derek kissing against the glass. Her dress unzipped, his hands in her hair. Their silhouettes wrapped around each other, intimate and exposed and never meant for the world to see. The headline: Billionaire CEO's steamy night with mystery teacher. Exclusive photos. Sienna couldn't breathe. They were watching us. Someone was watching us, and I'm calling my lawyer. Derek was already moving, fury radiating off him. This is invasion of privacy. I'll destroy whoever. Derek. Her voice cracked. Look at the comments. He froze. She scrolled, each word a knife. Gold digger got her payday. He's slumming it with a diversity hire. Bet she's already pregnant with his meal ticket. What's a teacher doing with a billionaire? Do the math. Worse were the ones that named her school. Posted her professional photo from Lincoln Elementary's website with captions speculating whether she was appropriate around children. The phone rang. Her principal. Sienna's hands shook so badly Derek had to help her answer. Ms. Matthews. Principal Hernandez's voice was tight. I need you in my office. Now. I can explain. The school board has received 17 complaints since these photos surfaced an hour ago. Parents questioning your judgment. Your professionalism. She paused. We need to discuss your future at Lincoln Elementary. The line went dead. Sienna stared at the phone, her entire body numb. They're going to fire me. Came out flat, emotionless. Shock. Probably. I gave 6 years to that school. To those kids. And they're going to fire me because I fell in love with you. No. Derek grabbed her shoulders. No, they can't. I won't let them. You'll what? She pulled away, the numbness cracking into something jagged. Buy the school? Threaten to sue. Derek, that'll make it worse. They'll say I'm using you. That I'm. Her voice broke. God, maybe they're right. Don't you dare. His voice turned to steel. Don't you dare let those vultures make you doubt what we have. What we have got me fired. The words exploded out. What we have is plastered across the internet for millions to judge. What we have just destroyed my career, my reputation, everything I've built. We'll fix this. How? Tears streamed down her face. How do we fix this, Derek? You live in a world where photographers stake out your building. Where our private moments get sold to the highest bidder. I'm a public school counselor. I don't know how to navigate this. Derek's face was anguished. Sienna, please. I need to go. She was already moving, grabbing her dress from the floor, her hands fumbling with the zipper. I need to talk to my principal, figure out how to save my job. Let me come with you. No. The word came out sharper than she intended. Derek, you showing up will make everything worse. Don't you see? This is exactly what everyone's saying, that I need you to fight my battles, that I'm using you. You're not using me, you're letting me support you. There's a difference. Is there? She turned on him, pain and fury warring in her chest. Because right now it feels like loving you cost me everything. She watched him flinch like she'd struck him. You don't mean that, he said quietly. I don't know what I mean. She pressed her palms to her eyes. I need space. I need to think. Space. He said it like a curse. Sienna, don't do this. Don't run because you're scared. I'm not running, I'm surviving. Her voice cracked. You'll be fine, Derek. You've got lawyers and money and none of this will touch you. But me. Those kids I counsel trust me. Their parents trust me. And now they're questioning whether I'm fit to be around children because I spent the night with my boyfriend. So yes, I need space to figure out how to fix the mess that loving you created. The silence was deafening. Derek's jaw worked. If that's what you need. It is. Then go. His voice had gone cold, distant. Self-protection, probably. She knew because she was doing the same thing. But, Sienna, when you figure out that we're stronger together than apart, I'll be here. I'll always be here. She wanted to run to him. Wanted to take it all back. Instead, she grabbed her bag and walked out, each step feeling like dying. The elevator ride down was endless. Sienna stared at her reflection in the polished doors, smudged makeup, wrinkled dress, a woman she barely recognized. Her phone buzzed. Derek, I love you. That doesn't change just because this is hard. When you're ready to fight for us instead of against us, I'm here. She closed her eyes against fresh tears. Sienna, I love you too. That's why this hurts so much. Outside, photographers waited like vultures. Ms. Matthews, is it true you're being fired? How long have you been sleeping with Derek Calloway? Did you know about the photos? Sienna pushed through them, head down, heart shattered, wondering if love was supposed to feel like losing everything. Your heart is broken, right? Have you ever had to choose between love and your career? Drop a comment. What would you do in Sienna's position? And can their love survive this ultimate test? The Lincoln Elementary conference room smelled like stale coffee and judgment. Sienna sat across from Principal Hernandez, 3 school board members, and the district's attorney, a severe woman in a gray pantsuit who looked at Sienna like she was a problem to be solved. Ms. Matthews, the attorney began, sliding a folder across the table. These photos have generated significant concern among our parent community. Sienna's throat was sandpaper. I understand, but my private life ceased being private when it went viral. Board member Patricia Lawson, a woman who'd always smiled at Sienna in the hallways, now wouldn't meet her eyes. We've had parents threaten to pull their children from your counseling sessions. Questions about your judgment. Your professionalism. I'm the same counselor I was yesterday. Sienna's voice shook. The same person who helped David overcome his stutter. Who got Jasmine resources when her father lost his job. Those photos don't change the work I do. They change how parents perceive you. The attorney's tone was clinical. Perception matters in education. Principal Hernandez finally spoke, her voice heavy. Sienna, you're one of our best counselors. But the board has to consider. Consider what? Punishing me for having a relationship. Heat flooded Sienna's chest. I didn't break any rules. I didn't do anything illegal or unethical. I fell in love with someone, and a photographer invaded our privacy. A photographer you should have anticipated, Patricia said sharply. You're dating one of Chicago's most visible CEOs. Surely you knew. Knew what? That I'd be stalked? Photographed through private windows? Slut-shamed across the internet for having a consensual adult relationship. The attorney stiffened. Ms. Matthews, your tone. My tone. Sienna stood, her chair scraping. You're asking me to apologize for being human. For loving someone. And you know what the real tragedy is? If I were white, if Derek were some regular guy instead of a billionaire, we wouldn't be having this conversation. Silence crashed through the room. That's a serious accusation, the attorney said coldly. It's the truth. Sienna's hands trembled, but her voice held firm. You're not worried about my professionalism. You're worried about optics. About a black woman dating a wealthy white man and what that looks like to people who've already decided who I'm supposed to be. Principal Hernandez's eyes flickered, something like agreement, quickly shuttered. We'll take your comments under advisement, the attorney said, standing. You're suspended pending investigation. 2 weeks, paid. We'll be in touch. Suspended. The word echoed in Sienna's skull as she gathered her things, walked past the office where student artwork covered the walls, where her kids' smiling faces reminded her of everything she stood to lose. In the parking lot, her phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer. Ms. Matthews? This is Jennifer Walsh, Chicago Tribune. I'd love to get your side of the story regarding. Sienna hung up. 3 more calls came immediately. Different reporters, same questions, all vultures circling a woman whose only crime was falling in love. She was unlocking her car when she saw him. Derek, leaning against a black SUV 50 feet away, looking like he hadn't slept. Their eyes met across the parking lot, and Sienna's heart cracked open all over again. He didn't approach. Just stood there, waiting. Giving her the space she demanded even though it was clearly killing him. She should leave. Should stick to her declaration that she needed time. Instead, she found herself walking toward him. You came, she said. You're surprised. His voice was rough. Sienna, you could tell me to stay away for a year and I'd still show up, just to make sure you were okay. I'm not okay. The admission broke something in her chest. They suspended me. 2 weeks while they investigate whether I'm fit to counsel children because I slept with my boyfriend. Derek's jaw clenched. I'm calling my lawyer. No. She caught his arm. Derek, legal action will make this worse. It'll look like you're trying to bully the school, like I'm hiding behind your money. I don't give a damn how it looks. His control snapped. They're destroying you for loving me, and I'm supposed to just stand here and watch? Yes. The word came out strangled. Because anything you do proves their point, that I need you to fight my battles, that I'm using you. Stop. Derek grabbed her shoulders, his eyes blazing. Stop letting their poison into your head. Sienna, we're a team. Teams support each other. That's not weakness, it's Derek Calloway. They turned. A man in his 50s stood there, phone out, recording. Paul Hendricks, Chicago Sun-Times. Is it true you and Ms. Matthews are living together? That you've been funding her lifestyle? No comment. Derek's voice went arctic. And turn that camera off. Just trying to get the facts. There are rumors you've been lavishing her with expensive gifts, that this relationship is based on love. Sienna stepped forward, her fear transforming into fury. Something you clearly know nothing about, since you're harassing 2 people in a parking lot for a headline. Paul's smirk was oily. So you deny accepting expensive gifts from Mr. Calloway? I bought her 1 bouquet of flowers. Derek's voice could cut glass. And paid for dinner twice. Hardly lavishing. What about the art piece? The $1,200 purchase? Sienna's blood went cold. How do you know about that? Paul's smile widened. A source close to you confirmed Mr. Calloway purchased it outright, despite claims you were making payments. That's a lie. But even as she said it, doubt crept in. Had the artist lied? Had Derek paid the full amount behind her back? She looked at Derek, saw something flicker in his eyes. Guilt, maybe. And her stomach dropped. Derek. Her voice shook. Tell me you didn't. Sienna, let me explain. You paid for it. The betrayal hit like a fist. After I specifically said I wanted to pay myself. After we agreed. I was trying to help. By lying to me? Tears burned her eyes. By making me look exactly like what they're all saying I am? Ms. Matthews, would you say Mr. Calloway has a pattern of controlling behavior? Paul's phone was still recording. Derek lunged for it, but Sienna caught his arm. Don't. Her voice was dead. You'll just make it worse. She turned to Paul, chin high despite the tears streaming down her face. You want a story? Here it is. I'm a woman who fell in love with a good man. A man who's generous and kind and sometimes doesn't understand that I need to stand on my own 2 feet. We're figuring it out, like every couple does, except we have vultures like you turning our private struggles into entertainment. So congratulations. You got your headline. Now leave us alone. She walked to her car, ignoring Derek calling her name, ignoring Paul's follow-up questions, ignoring everything except the need to get away before she shattered completely. Her phone buzzed as she started the engine. Derek, the artist, called me. Said you were one payment behind because your mama's medical bills came due. I paid the balance so you wouldn't lose it. I was trying to protect your pride, not insult it. I'm sorry. God, Sienna, I'm so sorry. She stared at the text, fresh tears blurring the words. He'd been trying to help. Had known she was struggling financially, because of course she was, with mama's medications and the mortgage, and tried to fix it without making her feel small. But he'd still lied. Another text came through. Not from Derek. Unknown number. Unknown. You want to know who gave the Tribune that information? Who's been feeding details about your relationship to the press? Ask your friend, Tasha. She's been selling your story for $500 per tip. Check her bank deposits. I thought you deserved to know. A friend. Sienna's world tilted. Tasha. Her best friend since college. The woman she'd told everything. No. It couldn't be. But when she opened her banking app, they'd shared passwords years ago for emergencies, and saw 3 deposits in the last week, each for $500, each from MediaSource Holdings. Bile rose in her throat. Her phone rang. Tasha. Sienna answered, her voice shaking. Tell me it's not true. Silence. Then, quietly. Sienna. Tell me you didn't sell me out for $1,500. I needed the money. Tasha's voice cracked. My student loans are drowning me, my car got repossessed, and you're dating a billionaire who could fix all your problems with pocket change while you're betraying your best friend? Sienna's voice broke. Tasha, I told you things in confidence. About Derek, about my mama, about my fears. And you got to live a fairy tale while the rest of us suffer. Tasha was crying now. Do you know what it's like watching you fall in love with someone who could change your entire life? Who could pay off your mama's medical bills without blinking? You don't even appreciate what you have. What I have. Sienna laughed bitterly. I just got suspended from the job I love because of photos you probably helped the press find. I'm being called a gold digger across the internet. My relationship is falling apart. But sure, Tasha. I'm living a fairy tale. Sienna, I'm sorry, Sienna hung up. She sat in her car, hands gripping the steering wheel, and screamed. Screamed for the job she might lose. For the trust Derek had broken, even with good intentions. For the friendship that had rotted from jealousy she'd never seen coming. Her phone buzzed again. Derek, I know you're hurting. I know I messed up. But baby, please don't shut me out. Let me fix this. Let me fight for us. I love you. That's the only truth that matters. Sienna stared at the words, her heart a war zone. Did she believe him? Could she trust him after he'd lied, even with noble intentions? Could she afford not to, when everyone else had already betrayed her? Tasha. Did you see that coming? Have you ever been betrayed by someone you trusted? Comment below, would you forgive Derek? And what should Sienna do about Tasha's betrayal? Sienna didn't go home. She drove to the one place that had always made sense. The lakefront, where the water stretched endless and indifferent, where she could breathe without the walls closing in. Her phone had been buzzing non-stop for an hour. Derek. Her mama. Principal Hernandez. Numbers she didn't recognize. She'd silenced it all. The wind off Lake Michigan cut through her thin cardigan, but she welcomed the cold. Felt appropriate. Everything inside her had frozen anyway. Suspended. Betrayed. Photographed. Exposed. And somehow, impossibly, still in love with the man at the center of the hurricane. Thought I'd find you here. Sienna spun. Her mama stood 20 feet away, leaning heavily on her cane, breathing hard like she'd walked too far too fast. Ma, what are you doing here? You shouldn't be. Tasha called me. Lorraine made her way to the bench, lowering herself with a wince. Told me everything. Girl was crying so hard I could barely understand her. She sold me out. Sienna's voice cracked. For money. Like our friendship meant nothing. She made a mistake. A terrible, selfish mistake. Lorraine patted the bench. Sit down, baby. Let's talk. Sienna sat, her body folding in on itself. I don't know what to do, Ma. Everything's falling apart. Then maybe it's time to let it fall. Lorraine took her hand. Let the job go. Let Tasha go. Let all the pieces shatter, and then pick up only the ones worth keeping. My job is worth keeping. Those kids will be there when this blows over. Or they won't, and you'll find another way to help. Lorraine's grip tightened. But baby girl, you're so busy holding on to everything you're afraid to hold on to the one thing that matters. What's that? Derek. Sienna pulled her hand away. He lied to me. He protected you. There's a difference. Is there? The anger felt good, cleaner than the grief. He went behind my back, paid for something I specifically said I wanted to handle myself. Because he loves you, you stubborn fool. Lorraine's voice rose. Because he saw you struggling and couldn't stand by and watch. Baby, that man drove across the city to make sure you were okay after a hard day. He shows up when you need him. He looks at you like you hung the stars. And you're ready to throw it away because he tried to help. He should have told me. You're right. He should have. Lorraine's voice gentled. But Sienna, listen to me. Your daddy kept secrets too. Stupid ones, proud ones, ones that made me want to strangle him. But at the end of the day, his heart was always in the right place. Derek's heart is in the right place. What if it's not enough? The whisper tore out of her. What if loving him costs me everything? My job, my reputation, my sense of self, and then he leaves anyway? What if he doesn't? Lorraine cupped her face. What if you stop waiting for the worst and start fighting for the best? That man is out there right now, probably losing his mind, waiting for you to decide if he's worth the risk. So I'm asking you, baby, is he? Sienna's phone buzzed. She'd turned the sound back on without realizing. Derek, I know you need space. I'm trying to respect that. But I need you to know something. I'm holding a press conference tomorrow at noon. I'm going to tell them everything, that I love you, that those photos were an invasion of privacy, that anyone who has a problem with us can take it up with me. You don't have to be there. You don't have to do anything. But I'm done letting people hurt you while I stay silent. You deserve better. You deserve everything. Sienna's hands shook. What is it? Lorraine asked. He's going public. Defending me. Probably destroying his business reputation in the process. Good. That's what love does. It shows up and fights, even when it's terrified. Sienna looked at her mama, this woman who'd worked herself to the bone raising a daughter alone, who'd loved a man through sickness and death, who understood sacrifice better than anyone. What do I do, Ma? You already know, baby. You're just scared to do it. Derek's penthouse looked like a tornado had hit it. Coffee cups everywhere. Laptop open to 17 different legal documents. His tie discarded, shirt rumpled, eyes bloodshot from no sleep. His phone rang. His lawyer. Derek, I'm begging you, don't do this press conference. It'll open you up to lawsuits, damage your company's image. I don't care. You should care. Your board is already nervous about the publicity. If you double down, then they can vote me out. Derek's voice was steel. I'm not letting Sienna face this alone. Not for another second. She might not even want you to. I don't care about that either. She deserves someone willing to burn the whole world down to protect her. If that costs me everything, so be it. He hung up. His hands were shaking. When was the last time he'd eaten? Slept? He couldn't remember. Couldn't focus on anything except the image of Sienna's face when she'd walked away, broken and beautiful and believing she had to carry everything alone. The elevator dinged. Derek's heart stopped. Sienna stepped out, still in the same clothes from this morning, hair wild from the wind, eyes red from crying. She looked wrecked. She looked perfect. "You came back," he breathed. "I saw your text." Her voice was barely audible. "Derek, you can't do a press conference. You'll destroy everything you've built." "I don't care about what I've built. I care about you. But your company, your reputation, means nothing without you in my life." He crossed to her, stopping just short of touching. "Sienna, I messed up. I should have told you about the art piece. Should have trusted you to handle it. I was trying to protect you, but I ended up making you feel small, and I hate myself for that." "Derek, let me finish, please." His voice cracked. "I've spent my whole life building empires, making money, proving I was worth something. And then you walked into my world in a rainstorm, and suddenly none of it mattered. You matter. Us matters. And if fighting for us means losing everything else, then hand me the match because I'll burn it all down myself." Tears streamed down Sienna's face. "You really mean that?" "Every word. Sienna Matthews, I love you. I love your strength and your stubborn independence and the way you make me want to be better. I love that you call me on my BS and won't let me fix everything with money. I love you so much it terrifies me, and I don't care who knows it. Tomorrow, the whole world will know it." "No." She closed the distance between them. "Tomorrow, we'll tell them together." Derek's breath caught. "Together." "Yeah." She took his hands, holding them like lifelines. "I'm done running. Done letting fear make my decisions. You're not perfect, Derek Calloway. You're controlling and you think money solves everything and you really suck at letting me handle things myself. Sienna. But you're also kind and generous and you show up when it matters. You stood in the rain for a lost kid. You listen when I talk about my work. You make me believe I deserve good things." Her voice broke. "And I love you. God help me, I love you so much it scares me. So tomorrow, we face them together. As a team." Derek pulled her against him, his face buried in her hair, his body shaking with relief. "I thought I'd lost you." "You almost did." She pulled back, her hands framing his face. "But Derek, we need rules. No more secrets, even ones meant to protect me. No more going behind my back. We communicate, we compromise, we figure it out together. Deal. Anything. I'll do anything. And I need you to understand, I have to fight my own battles sometimes. Not because I don't trust you, but because I need to know I can." "I know. I'm sorry I took that from you." He kissed her forehead, her cheeks, her lips. "I'll do better. I promise. We'll both do better." They stood like that, wrapped around each other, two broken people choosing to be whole together. "Stay tonight," Derek whispered. "Let me hold you. Let me prove I'm not going anywhere. Always." They're back together. Can you feel that love? Drop a comment. Would you stand beside someone even if the world was watching? And what do you think happens at that press conference tomorrow? The Calloway Technologies conference room was packed. Sienna stood backstage, if you could call the hallway behind a glass partition, backstage, watching journalists fill every seat, cameras trained on the empty podium like weapons waiting to fire. Her hands wouldn't stop shaking. "You don't have to do this," Derek said for the 5th time, his thumb tracing circles on her wrist. "I can handle it alone. You can watch from here, or go home, or... We're doing this together." Sienna squeezed his hand. "I'm terrified, but I'm done hiding." Derek's eyes searched hers, looking for doubt, maybe, or an exit she might want to take. Finding only determination, his face softened into something achingly tender. "You're the bravest person I've ever met. I'm shaking." Brave people shake. They just don't run. He kissed her knuckles. "I love you. No matter what happens in there, that doesn't change. I love you too. She straightened his tie, navy again, her favorite. Let's go remind them that love isn't a scandal. They walked out together. The camera flashes were blinding. Questions exploded before they even reached the podium, reporters shouting over each other, a cacophony of judgment wrapped in journalism. Mr. Calloway, is it true you're living with Ms. Matthews? Sienna, how do you respond to allegations you're using him for money? Derek, has this relationship affected your company's stock price? Derek's hand found the small of Sienna's back, grounding, protective, present. He stepped to the microphone, and the room quieted. Thank you all for coming. His voice was steady, commanding. CEO voice. I'm going to make a statement, and then Sienna and I will take a few questions. But first, I need to be crystal clear about something. He turned, his eyes finding Sienna's, and the entire room disappeared. 2 weeks ago, I met a woman in a rainstorm. She was helping a lost child, gave him the sweater off her own back without hesitation, stayed with him in the pouring rain until we found his mother. I watched her calm a terrified kid with nothing but kindness and presence. And I thought, that's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Sienna's eyes burned. Derek turned back to the cameras, but his hand reached for hers, lacing their fingers together in front of the entire world. Since then, I've learned that moment wasn't exceptional for Sienna Matthews. It's who she is. She's an elementary school counselor who spent 6 years changing children's lives, kids with anxiety, with trauma, with parents who can't afford therapy. She shows up every single day and gives everything she has to people who need her. His voice roughened. And somehow, impossibly, she chose to give some of that incredible heart to me. We fell in love. Fast, yes. Unexpectedly, absolutely. But real. So real that I can't imagine my life without her in it. A reporter raised her hand. Mr. Calloway, the photos were an invasion of privacy. Derek's voice turned to ice. Taken with a telephoto lens through my private residence. We were in what we believed to be a safe, intimate space. Those photos should never have been published, and the outlets that ran them should be ashamed. But you're a public figure. I'm a CEO, not a celebrity. And more importantly, Sienna isn't public at all. She's a private citizen whose only crime was falling in love with someone the media decided was newsworthy. His grip on Sienna's hand tightened. You want a story? Here it is. I'm in love with Sienna Matthews. She's brilliant, compassionate, stubborn as hell, and the best thing that's ever happened to me. Those photos don't show something scandalous. They show two people in love. And I refuse to apologize for that. The room erupted. Sienna stepped to the microphone, her heart hammering so hard she could feel it in her throat. I'd like to say something. The room quieted again, hungry. Waiting for her to stumble, probably. To confirm their worst assumptions. She wouldn't give them the satisfaction. My name is Sienna Matthews. I'm 34 years old. I have a master's degree in counseling psychology. I've worked at Lincoln Elementary for 6 years, and in that time, I've helped over 300 children navigate everything from bullying to family trauma to learning disabilities. Her voice grew stronger. I'm also a daughter. My mama raised me alone after my daddy died of cancer. She worked 2 jobs to put me through college, and now I live with her to help manage her diabetes and heart condition. I pay my own bills. I have student loans. My car is 12 years old and the check engine light's been on for 6 months. A few reporters shifted uncomfortably. I'm telling you this because you've spent 2 weeks creating a narrative about me, that I'm a gold digger, an opportunist, someone using Derek for his money. But you don't know me. You don't know that I insisted on paying for my own coffee on our first date. That I refused to let him buy me art until I could pay for it myself. That I moved back home not because I had to, but because my mama needed me and that mattered more than independence. Sienna's eyes found Derek's. He was looking at her like she was the only person in the room, in the world. I didn't plan to fall in love with Derek Calloway. It wasn't strategic or calculated. It was terrifying and overwhelming and the most real thing I've ever felt. And yes, he's wealthy. Yes, we come from different worlds. But love doesn't care about tax brackets or zip codes. Love is about finding someone who sees you, really sees you, and chooses you anyway. Her voice cracked. Derek sees me. Not a narrative or a headline or a diversity statement. Me. The woman who talks too much about her students. Who burns toast and cries at sappy commercials. Who's scared of vulnerability but trying to be brave. He sees all of it and loves me anyway. She turned fully to him, the camera's forgotten. And I see him. Not a billionaire or a CEO or a Forbes feature. I see a man who stopped his entire day to help a lost child. Who listens when I talk like my words are the most important thing he's ever heard. Who stood in the rain waiting for me because he knew I'd need him. Who's willing to face all of you, risk everything, just to protect me. Derek's eyes were wet. So yes, I'm in love with Derek Calloway. And if that makes me a gold digger in your eyes, then you've never actually experienced love. The room was silent. Stunned. Then Derek did something that would trend worldwide for the next week. He dropped to one knee. Sienna's heart stopped. Derek, what are you? Sienna Marie Matthews. His voice was shaking, raw, beautiful. I didn't plan this. I have a ring picked out, it's at a jeweler downtown, custom designed because nothing I found was perfect enough. I was going to wait, do this right, take you somewhere romantic. Derek. But I can't wait. Because standing here, listening to you defend us, defend what we have, I realized I don't want to spend another second of my life not being engaged to you. He pulled something from his pocket. A simple silver band, the one he wore on his right hand, the one his father had given him before he died. This was my dad's. It's not fancy, it's not diamonds, but it's the most valuable thing I own. And I want you to have it. Will you? His voice broke. Sienna, will you marry me? Will you let me spend the rest of my life showing up for you, listening to you, standing in the rain with you? Will you marry me and build a life where we figure out the hard stuff together and the world can say whatever it wants because we'll be too busy being happy? Sienna couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. Every camera in the room was on her, but all she could see was Derek, kneeling, vulnerable, offering her everything. You're proposing. At a press conference. I'm proposing because I can't not propose. Because you just told a room full of strangers that you love me, defended us like a warrior, and I'm so damn in love with you I can't see straight. His laugh was wet. So yeah, terrible timing, completely unplanned, probably the worst proposal in history. Yes. But I couldn't wait. What? Yes, Derek. Yes, I'll marry you. The room exploded. Derek stood, sliding the too large band onto her finger, and kissed her like the world was ending and beginning all at once. Sienna kissed him back, tears and laughter mixing, her hands in his hair, anchoring herself to the only solid thing in a spinning universe. When they broke apart, the cameras were still flashing, but it didn't matter. Nothing mattered except the way Derek was looking at her, like she'd just given him the world. I love you, he whispered against her lips. God, I love you so much. I love you too, you crazy, impulsive, beautiful man. A reporter's voice cut through. Ms. Matthews, how do you respond to claims this proposal is a publicity stunt? Sienna turned to the camera, Derek's arm around her waist, the ring heavy and perfect on her finger. I respond by saying you can think whatever you want. But we know the truth. And that's all that matters. Derek kissed her temple. We done here. So done. They walked out together, past the shouting reporters, past the cameras, past all of it, and into the hallway where Sienna's mama waited, tears streaming down her face. Baby girl, Lorraine whispered, pulling her into a hug. You were magnificent. Ma, he proposed. In front of everyone. He gave you exactly what you needed. A man who isn't afraid to claim you publicly. Lorraine turned to Derek. Welcome to the family, son. You better treat her right. Every single day, ma'am. I promise. Sienna's phone buzzed. Then again. And again. Messages flooded in, from co-workers, former students' parents, people she hadn't spoken to in years. Mrs. Rodriguez, we were wrong about you. That was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Our daughter's lucky to have you. Principal Hernandez, emergency board meeting tonight. I'm fighting for you. What you did today reminded me why I became an educator. You're not going anywhere if I have anything to say about it. Unknown, this is Angela, Tyler's mom. You changed my son's life that day in the rain. Watching you stand up for love changed mine. Thank you. Tears blurred Sienna's vision. Derek pulled her close. You okay? Yeah. She looked up at him, her fiancé, her partner, her home. I'm perfect. Are you crying? Because we are. That proposal. Have you ever witnessed a moment so perfect it restored your faith in love? Drop a comment. What's the most romantic thing you've ever seen? And do you think the school board will let Sienna keep her job? 3 days after the proposal heard round the world, Sienna woke to an empty bed. She found Derek in his home office at dawn, tie loosened, shirt sleeves rolled up, surrounded by blueprints and architectural renderings that made absolutely no sense at 5:30 in the morning. Baby! She leaned against the doorframe, his MIT sweatshirt, now hers, hanging to her thighs. Did you sleep at all? Derek looked up, and the smile that transformed his exhausted face made her heart skip. Couldn't. Too busy planning. Planning what? Come here. I want to show you something. Sienna padded across the hardwood, settling into his lap. His arms came around her automatically, his chin resting on her shoulder as he turned his laptop screen. The rendering showed a building, modern glass and steel, but warm somehow, with green spaces and light pouring through massive windows. Ground floor showed an open gallery space. Second floor, offices. Third floor, what looked like classrooms? What is this? She whispered. The Matthews Center for Child Advocacy. Derek's voice was quiet, careful. A non-profit I'm establishing in your name. Gallery space on the main floor for local artists. All proceeds go to the center. Second floor houses free counseling services for families who can't afford private therapy. Third floor is educational workshops, art therapy, music therapy, safe spaces for kids who need them. Sienna couldn't breathe. Derek. Before you say it's too much, hear me out. He turned her in his lap, his eyes intense. You were right. I can't fix everything with money. But I can use what I have to amplify what you do. You change lives one kid at a time, Sienna. This center? It lets you change hundreds, thousands, eventually. This must cost. Doesn't matter. I've already allocated the funds. The building's purchased, it's that abandoned bank on the south side, 3 blocks from Lincoln Elementary. Construction starts next month. His hands framed her face. I'm not doing this to control you or prove anything. I'm doing it because the work you do matters, and it should have institutional support. You'll run it however you want. Hire who you want. Set the mission. I'm just the money guy. Tears spilled down her cheeks. You bought a building. I bought a legacy. His thumb caught her tears. Our legacy. Something good that'll outlive us both. Something that says Sienna Matthews was here, and she gave a damn, and she changed the world. She kissed him, desperate and grateful and so in love she couldn't contain it. You're impossible. You love it. I love you. She pulled back, studying the renderings again. Derek, it's everything I've ever dreamed of. But I need to run it by the school board. I don't want them thinking. Already done. He pulled up an email. Met with them yesterday. Presented it as a community partnership. Lincoln Elementary students get priority access to services. Teachers can refer families directly. They unanimously approved it. Principal Hernandez cried. You met with the school board? Without telling me. Derek winced. I know, we said no secrets. But I wanted it to be a surprise, and I knew if you were there, you'd try to do it all yourself without letting me help, and… Sienna pressed her finger to his lips. Derek Calloway, shut up and let me thank you properly. She kissed him until they were both breathless, until the blueprints scattered to the floor, until Derek groaned and lifted her onto his desk, his hands sliding beneath the sweatshirt. Sienna, he breathed against her neck. We should, the contractors are coming at 9 to… Oh God, right there. Let them wait. 2 hours later, showered and fortified with coffee, Sienna stood in the ruins of the old bank building with Derek, his architect, and a construction crew. The space was massive, vaulted ceilings, original marble floors beneath decades of grime, windows that had been boarded up now streaming with morning light. This is it, she whispered. Derek squeezed her hand. This is it. What do you think? Sienna turned in a slow circle, and suddenly she could see it. Children's artwork covering the walls, families finding hope in the counseling rooms, the gallery hosting shows that gave voice to struggling artists. She saw her future, their future, something bigger than both of them. I think it's perfect. Her phone rang. Principal Hernandez. Sienna, can you come to the school? There's something you need to see. The Lincoln Elementary parking lot was packed with news vans. Sienna's stomach dropped. Oh God, not again. But Derek pointed to the signs. We stand with Ms. Matthews. Love is not a scandal. Bring back our counselor. Parents, dozens of them, lined the sidewalk holding homemade posters. The Rodriguezes were there. The Johnsons. Mrs. Park with her son David, who held a sign that read Ms. Matthews helped me find my voice in careful third-grade handwriting. Sienna's hand flew to her mouth. They've been here since 6 a.m., Principal Hernandez said, appearing beside them with tears in her eyes. After your press conference, parents started calling, sharing stories about how you'd helped their children. By yesterday afternoon, we had 200 emails demanding your reinstatement. The board met in emergency session last night. And Sienna could barely breathe. You're reinstated. Effective immediately. Full apology from the district for the suspension. And Hernandez smiled through tears. The board wants to discuss expanding our counseling program, using your center as a model. Sienna's knees buckled. Derek caught her, holding her upright as parents started cheering. Thank you, she whispered to Hernandez. Thank you for fighting for me. You fought for yourself. I just backed you up. Hernandez squeezed her shoulder. Welcome back, Ms. Matthews. Your kids have missed you. The day became a blur. Parents hugging her, thanking her. Children making her promise she'd never leave again. Colleagues who'd been silent during her suspension now apologizing, shamefaced but sincere. Through it all, Derek stood back, giving her the spotlight, letting her have this moment, but always within reach. Grounding her. At lunch, they escaped to Derek's car. That was overwhelming, Sienna said, leaning her head back against the leather seat. You were magnificent. Derek kissed her hand. Watching you with those families. Sienna, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Thanks to you. No. Thanks to you being brave enough to fight for what you believe in. His eyes softened. I have one more surprise. But this one, I need your permission first. Sienna raised an eyebrow. You're learning. Slowly. Very slowly. He pulled out his phone, showing her a contact. I want to hire Tasha. Sienna's stomach lurched. What? For the center. As community outreach coordinator. Derek's voice was gentle. I know she betrayed you. I know it hurt. But I also know she called your mama, told her everything, and has been trying to apologize for 3 days straight. People make mistakes, Sienna. Terrible ones. The question is whether we let them earn redemption. Derek, she sold my story. For $1,500 because she was drowning in debt and desperate and made the worst decision of her life. He took her hands. I'm not saying you have to forgive her. That's your call entirely. But I checked her qualifications. She's got a degree in social work, 5 years of community organizing experience, and she knows the South Side better than anyone. She'd be perfect for the role. If, and only if, you can work with her. Sienna closed her eyes, warring emotions tearing at her chest. Tasha had betrayed her. Had sold her most intimate moments for money. The friendship they'd had for 12 years had shattered in a single choice. But she also remembered Tasha staying up all night helping her study for licensing exams. Tasha holding her when her daddy died. Tasha who'd been at every major moment of her life until desperation had twisted her judgment. I want to talk to her first, Sienna said finally. Hear her out. If, and this is a big if, I can believe she's genuinely sorry, then, maybe we can rebuild trust. Slowly. Derek's smile was proud. You're a better person than I am. No. I'm just someone who's been forgiven for my own mistakes. She squeezed his hands. You taught me that. When I pushed you away, you didn't give up. You fought for us. Maybe Tasha deserves someone fighting for her too. God, I love you. Show me. He did, right there in the parking lot, kissing her until her phone buzzed with a reminder that she had a session with Jasmine in 10 minutes. Go, Derek said against her lips. Go be brilliant. I'll see you tonight. What are you doing tonight? His smile turned mysterious. You'll see. That evening, Derek picked her up in the Aston Martin, the same one from that rainy day 2 weeks ago that felt like a lifetime. Where are we going? Sienna asked as they drove through the city. You'll see. He pulled up to Millennium Park, where their first real date had been. But instead of crowds, the space was empty except for twinkle lights strung through the trees and a violinist playing soft jazz. Derek led her to the Cloud Gate, the Bean, where a table for two sat impossibly, illegally, beautifully beneath the sculpture's mirrored surface. Derek, how did you? I know people. Called in favors. May have made a substantial donation to the parks department. He pulled out her chair. I wanted to recreate our first date. The one where I realized I was falling in love with you. Sienna's eyes burned. You're spoiling me. I'm cherishing you. There's a difference. Dinner was perfect, the same meals they'd ordered at Moretto's, the same almond croissants, even the same caramel lattes. They talked for hours about the center, about wedding plans neither of them had started, about a future that stretched bright and terrifying and full of possibility. When the violinist played the last song, Derek stood and offered his hand. Dance with me. They swayed beneath the stars, beneath the Bean's infinite reflections showing them from every angle. Two people who'd found each other in a storm and refused to let go. I have something for you, Derek whispered. He pulled a small box from his pocket. Inside was a ring, custom designed, just like he'd promised. A sapphire the color of his eyes, surrounded by diamonds that caught the light like rain. It's perfect, Sienna breathed as he slid it onto her finger beside his father's band. You're perfect. He kissed her softly. Sienna Matthews, soon to be Calloway, you've wrecked me in the best possible way. I can't wait to spend the rest of my life being wrecked by you. She laughed through happy tears. That's the most romantic thing anyone's ever said to me. Good. Because I plan to say romantic things to you every day for the next 60 years. Only 60. Fine. 80. 100. However long we get, it won't be enough. They kissed beneath the stars, and somewhere, a camera clicked, but this time it was the photographer Derek had hired, capturing the moment for them, not the world. This moment was theirs. That proposal gift. The center. Have you ever had someone believe in your dreams more than you believed in yourself? Comment below, what's the most thoughtful gift you've ever received? And are you ready for this wedding? 6 weeks after the proposal, Sienna stood in her childhood bedroom surrounded by tulle, lace, and 3 women arguing about boutonnieres. I'm telling you, white roses are too traditional, Tasha said, pinning another curl into Sienna's updo. You need something with color. Peonies, maybe. Or. The man proposed with his dead father's ring at a press conference. Lorraine interjected from her perch on the bed, oxygen tank beside her. A new addition that made Sienna's chest tight every time she saw it. I think we're past traditional, baby. I like traditional, Derek's sister Caroline chimed in, adjusting Sienna's veil. Traditional is classic. Timeless. Sienna caught Tasha's eye in the mirror. Their friendship was still fragile, rebuilt slowly over coffee dates and difficult conversations, trust earned back in increments. But she was here, and that meant something. Can we maybe focus on the fact that I'm getting married in 3 hours and I can't breathe in this dress? All three women froze. You can't breathe. Lorraine struggled to stand. Baby, why didn't you say? Ma, sit down. I'm fine. Just nervous. Sienna turned from the mirror, and her mama's eyes filled with tears. Oh, baby girl. You look just like Daddy's wedding photos. I know, Ma. I saw them this morning. Sienna's voice cracked. I wish he was here. He is here. Lorraine pressed a hand to Sienna's heart. Right here. And he's so proud of the woman you've become. The man you're marrying. The life you're building. A knock interrupted the moment. Sienna. Derek's voice, muffled through the door. I know I'm not supposed to see you, but... Derek Calloway, you step away from that door right now. Caroline yanked it open, blocking his view. It's bad luck. I don't care about luck. I need 30 seconds. Please. Caroline looked at Sienna, who nodded. 30 seconds. And close your eyes. Derek stepped into the hallway, eyes squeezed shut, looking ridiculously handsome in his charcoal tux. Sienna's heart did that stupid fluttering thing it always did when she saw him. What's wrong? She asked, moving to the doorway. Nothing's wrong. Everything's perfect. Too perfect. And He exhaled shakily. I needed to hear your voice. To know you're real. That in 3 hours you're actually going to be my wife and this isn't some dream I'm going to wake up from. Sienna's eyes burned. I'm real. We're real. Can I touch you? Please. Just your hand. She reached out, lacing her fingers through his. His grip was trembling. Derek, are you okay? I'm terrified. His laugh was watery. I've given presentations to thousands of people, negotiated million-dollar deals, but the thought of standing up there and promising you forever? I'm shaking. Good terrified or bad terrified? The best terrified of my life. He squeezed her hand. Sienna, I love you so much it physically hurts. And I just needed you to know that before we do this in front of everyone else. I love you too, you big softy. She kissed his knuckles, not caring about lipstick. Now go. Let me finish getting beautiful for you. You're already beautiful. You could show up in sweatpants and you'd still be the most gorgeous thing I've ever seen. Smooth talker. Now leave before your sister murders us both. He left, and Sienna turned back to find 3 women watching her with varying expressions of amusement. That man is gone for you, Tasha said, grinning. Absolutely wrecked. Good, Sienna replied. Because I'm wrecked for him too. The Matthews Center, barely finished, still smelling of fresh paint, had been transformed. White flowers cascaded from every surface. Lights twinkled like stars against the exposed brick. The gallery space that would soon house community art now held 200 guests waiting for a love story to culminate. Sienna stood at the entrance with her mama, who'd refused the wheelchair and insisted on walking her daughter down the aisle. You ready, baby? Lorraine asked, gripping her cane with one hand and Sienna's arm with the other. So ready. The music started, a string quartet playing an instrumental version of At Last, and the doors opened. Sienna saw Derek first. He stood at the altar beside his best man, his brother-in-law James, looking like every dream she'd ever had and several she hadn't known she was allowed to want. When their eyes met, his face crumpled for just a second before he smiled through tears. "I love you," he mouthed. "I love you too," she mouthed back. They made it halfway down the aisle when the doors burst open behind them. Everyone turned. A woman stood there, white, mid-60s, designer suit, perfectly coiffed silver hair. She looked like money and power and barely contained fury. Derek's face went ashen. "Mom." Sienna's stomach dropped. Derek's mother. The one who'd retired to Arizona. The one who supposedly couldn't make the wedding because of a prior commitment. The one Derek had described as complicated and left it at that. "Derek Alexander Calloway," the woman said, her voice carrying across the stunned silence. "You're making the biggest mistake of your life, and I'm not going to stand by and let it happen." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Sienna felt her mama tense beside her, but before Lorraine could say anything, Sienna stepped forward. "Mrs. Calloway." Her voice was calm, steady. Counselor voice. "This is a surprise." "I'm sure it is." The woman's eyes raked over Sienna, assessing, dismissing. "Derek, I need to speak with you. Privately. Now." "Mom, I don't know what you think. I think you're about to marry someone you barely know. Someone who's clearly after your money. Someone." "Stop." Sienna's voice cut like glass. Every eye in the room fixed on her. "Mrs. Calloway, I understand you're concerned about your son. That's what mothers do. But you don't get to crash our wedding and insult me without knowing anything about me or what Derek and I have built together. I know you've been together less than 2 months. 7 weeks, Sienna corrected. 7 weeks that have held more honesty, partnership, and genuine love than some people find in a lifetime. You want to question my intentions? Fine. Question away. But not here. Not now. Not on the day your son is trying to commit his life to me." The woman's mouth opened. Closed. Derek crossed to Sienna, taking her hand. "Mom, I love you. But Sienna's right. You don't get to do this. Not today." "Derek, I'm trying to protect you." "I don't need protection. I need support." His voice was firm but not unkind. "Sienna is the best thing that's ever happened to me. She makes me better. Kinder. More human. And if you can't see that, if you can't be happy for us, then I'm asking you to leave." The silence was deafening. Derek's mother looked between them, her son and the woman he'd chosen, and something shifted in her expression. The fury cracked, revealing something raw underneath. Fear, maybe. Or grief. "You really love her," she whispered. "More than anything in this world." The woman's eyes moved to Sienna. Really looked at her this time, taking in the simple elegance of her dress, the way she stood with Derek's mother despite having every right to be furious, the strength in her bearing. "What are your intentions with my son?" The question was softer now, genuine. Sienna met her gaze head-on. "To love him. To challenge him when he needs it and support him always. To build a life together that matters. One where we use what we have to help people who need it. To give him a family, a home, a partnership where he never has to choose between success and happiness because he gets both. And his money? Is his. I have my own career, my own purpose. I don't need his bank account, Mrs. Calloway. I just need him." The woman studied her for a long moment, then looked at Derek. "She's got fire. I like that." Derek's laugh was startled, relieved. "She's got everything, Mom. That's why I'm marrying her." His mother stepped forward, stopping in front of Sienna. Up close, she looked tired. Older. Scared of losing her son. "I apologize," she said quietly. "For the dramatic entrance. For the assumptions. Her voice cracked. "I lost his father young. Derek's all I have. The thought of him getting hurt. I understand." Sienna took the woman's hand, a peace offering. I'd protect him with my life too. But Mrs. Calloway, I'm not here to take him from you. I'm here to love him. There's room for both of us in his life. Tears spilled down the woman's perfectly made-up face. Call me Diane. Diane. Sienna squeezed her hand. Would you like to stay? For the wedding. Derek made a choked sound. Sienna, you don't have to. She's your mother. Of course she stays. Sienna looked at Diane. But if you object during the speak now or forever hold your peace part, I'm having you escorted out. Deal. Diane laughed, surprised, genuine. Deal. The tension broke. Guests started clapping, slowly at first, then building to applause and laughter. Derek pulled Sienna against him, kissing her forehead. You're incredible, he whispered. Absolutely incredible. I'm marrying you, aren't I? That takes some level of incredible. She turned to the officiant, Principal Hernandez, who'd gotten ordained online specifically for this. Can we do this now? Before anyone else crashes. Let's make this official, Hernandez said with a grin. Sienna and her mama finished the walk down the aisle. Derek met them at the altar, taking Lorraine's hand first. I'll take care of her, he promised. Every single day. You better, or you'll answer to me. But Lorraine was smiling through tears as she placed Sienna's hand in Derek's. Love her fierce, son. She deserves fierce. I will. The ceremony was perfect. Vows that made everyone cry, rings exchanged with shaking hands, a kiss that went on long enough that someone whistled. But the moment Sienna would remember forever came at the end, when Hernandez said, I now pronounce you husband and wife, and the room erupted, and Derek swept her into his arms like she weighed nothing, spinning her around while she laughed and cried and held on to the best decision she'd ever made. I love you, Mrs. Calloway, he said against her lips. I love you too, Mr. Calloway. How mad are you about my mom? Ask me after the reception. He laughed, kissing her again. Fair enough. As they walked back down the aisle, husband and wife, partners, best friends, Sienna caught Diane's eye. The woman nodded, respect and apology and something like hope in her expression. Maybe family wasn't always perfect. Maybe love meant navigating complications and forgiving crashes and building bridges where walls had been. Maybe that was what made it real. That plot twist. Did you see that coming? Drop a comment. Have you ever had an unexpected wedding drama? How would you have handled Derek's mom? And oh my God, they're married. 6 months later. Sienna woke to the smell of coffee and the sound of her husband singing off-key in the kitchen. Husband. The word still sent a thrill through her. She stretched in the king-sized bed of their new home, not Derek's penthouse, not her mama's house, but something they'd chosen together. A brownstone in Bronzeville with a garden for Lorraine, an office for Derek, and a reading nook where Sienna could decompress after long days at the center. Compromise. Partnership. Home. Her phone buzzed with the morning's first message. Mama, don't forget Sunday dinner. And tell that husband of yours I'm making his favorite pot roast. He's too skinny. Sienna grinned. Derek had gained 10 pounds since the wedding from her mama's cooking, but Lorraine insisted he needed meat on his bones. She padded downstairs in Derek's NYU t-shirt, the one she'd claimed as hers 3 months ago, and found him at the stove, dress pants on but shirtless, flipping pancakes with the concentrated focus he usually reserved for board meetings. Morning, beautiful. He didn't turn around, but his voice was warm. Coffee's ready. Pancakes in 2 minutes. Sienna wrapped her arms around him from behind, pressing her cheek to his bare back. You're spoiling me again. It's Saturday. Spoiling you is literally in my calendar. He turned in her arms, spatula still in hand, and kissed her thoroughly. Sleep okay? Perfectly. You. Woke up at 4 thinking about the center's grand opening next week. Couldn't fall back asleep, so I figured I'd make breakfast. His eyes searched hers. You nervous? Terrified? Excited? All of it. She stole a piece of bacon from the plate beside him. What if nobody comes? What if we built this beautiful thing and... Sienna. He cupped her face. We already have a wait list of 40 families. The gallery's booked for the next 6 months. You've hired 12 incredible staff members. It's going to be perfect. You can't know that. I know you. That's enough. They ate breakfast on the back porch, watching autumn leaves fall into the garden where Lorraine's tomatoes had been replaced by mums and chrysanthemums. Derek read the Tribune, physical paper, a quirk she found endearing, while Sienna scrolled through emails. One made her freeze. Subject: Lincoln Elementary, special recognition. She opened it, read twice, then a third time before her hands started shaking. Derek. He looked up immediately, concern flooding his features. What's wrong? The State Board of Education. Her voice was barely a whisper. They're giving me the Counselor Excellence Award. For, she read from the screen, exceptional dedication to student welfare, innovative community programming, and demonstrating the transformative power of compassionate advocacy. Derek's face split into the most beautiful smile. Sienna, that's incredible. The ceremony's in Springfield next month. They want me to give a speech. She looked up, tears blurring her vision. Derek, 6 months ago I was suspended. They questioned whether I was fit to work with children. And now they're recognizing what I've known all along. He pulled her into his lap. That you're extraordinary. That what you do changes lives. That you're exactly the kind of person who should be celebrated. She kissed him, soft and grateful and full of wonder at how far they'd come. Will you come with me? To the ceremony. Baby, I'd follow you anywhere. The Matthews Center's grand opening arrived wrapped in perfect October weather. Sienna stood at the entrance, watching volunteers make final preparations. The gallery walls showcased work from 15 local artists, all profits split between the artists and the center's free counseling program. Upstairs, therapy rooms waited with comfortable furniture and art supplies. The third floor's educational space had everything from musical instruments to sensory corners for kids with autism. It was everything she'd dreamed and more. You ready? Derek appeared beside her, devastating in a navy suit, his hand finding hers automatically. I built this, she whispered. We built this. You built this. I just wrote the checks. He kissed her temple. This is all you, Sienna. Your vision, your heart, your refusal to accept that some kids don't get the help they need. You did this. The doors opened. The crowd that poured in made Sienna's breath catch. Parents from Lincoln Elementary with their children. Former students, now teenagers, who'd heard about the center and wanted to support her. Principal Hernandez with half the school's teaching staff. Angela, Tyler's mom, with Tyler himself, now 7 and confident, a completely different child from the scared boy in the rain. Tasha appeared with clipboards, directing people to different areas with the efficiency that made her brilliant at her job. Their friendship had healed slowly, but watching her thrive in her role filled Sienna with something like forgiveness. People deserved second chances. Diane Calloway walked in with Caroline and her family, carrying a massive bouquet. Derek's mother had transformed over the past 6 months, from adversary to ally to something approaching family. She'd taken Lorraine to doctor's appointments when Sienna couldn't leave work. Had quietly funded scholarships for 3 families who couldn't afford the center's sliding scale fees. Had called Sienna last week just to talk, mother to daughter-in-law, building a relationship brick by careful brick. Diane. Sienna hugged her. You came. Of course I came. This is important. Diane's eyes were suspiciously wet. Sienna, what you've created here, my son chose well. Better than well. Thank you. That means everything. The biggest surprise came 20 minutes later. Sienna was giving an impromptu tour to a local news crew when she saw her. Jasmine. The 10-year-old who'd written You're the Only Grown-Up Who Listens 2 years ago. Now 12, taller, wearing a Lincoln Elementary volunteer t-shirt. Ms. Matthews. Jasmine ran to her, and Sienna caught her in a hug that threatened to break her composure completely. "Jasmine, sweetheart, what are you doing here?" "I volunteer now. At Lincoln, helping the younger kids." Jasmine's smile was proud, bright. "Because you helped me. You showed me that talking about hard things makes them smaller. So now I want to help other kids who feel scared or alone or different." Sienna couldn't speak around the lump in her throat. "You did that," Jasmine continued. "You changed my life, Ms. Matthews. I wanted you to know." "Oh, baby." Sienna held her tighter. "You changed mine too." When the crowd had settled, Sienna stood at a makeshift podium, just a music stand, really, and looked out at the sea of faces. "I'm not great at speeches," she began, and several people laughed. "But I need to say some things. 7 months ago, my life fell apart. I was suspended from my job, publicly humiliated, questioned about my judgment and my intentions. People I'd never met decided they knew who I was based on photographs and headlines. It was the darkest period of my life." She found Derek in the crowd. He was watching her with such love it steadied her shaking hands. "But it was also when I learned what really matters. Not what people think. Not protecting an image or avoiding controversy. What matters is showing up. Fighting for what's right. Letting people love you even when you're terrified of being hurt." Her eyes found her mama, seated in the front row with her oxygen tank, crying openly. "This center exists because my mama taught me that service matters more than comfort. Because my husband believed in my dream even when I was too scared to believe in it myself. Because parents trusted me with their children's hearts. Because kids like Jasmine," she gestured to the girl, who blushed, "reminded me why this work is sacred." Sienna's voice strengthened. "The Matthews Center isn't just mine. It belongs to everyone who's ever felt invisible, who's ever struggled alone, who's ever needed someone to see them and say, 'You matter.' This is for every child who needs a safe space. Every family who can't afford therapy. Every artist who needs a platform. Every person who's been told they're too much or not enough or don't belong. You belong here. You matter here. And we're going to prove that love, real, active, show up and do the work love, can change the world. One person at a time." The applause was deafening. Derek was the first to reach her, lifting her off the ground, spinning her while she laughed and cried and held onto her best decision. "I'm so proud of you," he said against her neck. "So damn proud. We did it." "No, baby. You did it. I just got to watch you be magnificent." That evening, after the crowds had left and the center was quiet, Derek found Sienna sitting in the gallery, staring at the art. "Hey." He settled beside her on the bench. "You okay?" "Better than okay." She leaned into him. "Today was perfect. Everything I hoped for. It was." He paused, his hand moving to her stomach in a gesture that had become automatic over the past week. "And it's about to get even better." Sienna's breath caught. "Derek. I know we said we'd wait. I know the center just opened and you just won that award and timing is complicated." His eyes were impossibly tender. "But Sienna, I can't stop thinking about it. About a little girl with your eyes and your stubborn streak. Or a boy who looks like me but has your heart. About building a family in that house we chose together. About Sunday dinners getting louder and messier and full of life." "Are you saying?" "I'm saying whenever you're ready, I'm ready. If that's next month or next year or 5 years from now, I'll wait. But I wanted you to know." His hand pressed gently to her stomach. "I dream about this. About us. About forever in every possible way." Sienna's eyes flooded. "What if I said I'm already ready?" Derek's breath stopped. "Are you?" She placed her hand over his on her stomach. "I stopped taking the pill 6 weeks ago. I didn't tell you because I wanted to be sure. But Derek, I'm sure. I want this. I want everything with you." "Sienna." His voice broke on her name. He kissed her like she was oxygen, like she was everything, like 7 months together hadn't dimmed the intensity one bit. When they broke apart, both breathing hard, Derek pressed his forehead to hers. I love you. God, I love you so much it terrifies me. Good. She smiled against his lips. Let's be terrified together. Forever. Forever. 1 year later. The Matthews Center's anniversary celebration filled the gallery to capacity. Sienna stood at the podium, 8 months pregnant, glowing, her hand resting on the swell of their daughter, and read the year's statistics. 347 families served. 22 children placed in long-term therapy. 15 art shows featuring local talent. 85 workshops on everything from grief counseling to college preparation. And her voice caught. 12 kids who told us we saved their lives. The crowd erupted. Derek watched from the side, Lorraine beside him in her wheelchair, a concession she'd finally accepted 3 months ago when her heart had gotten worse. But she was here, smiling, crying, squeezing Derek's hand like he was the son she'd never had. Your girl did good, Lorraine whispered. Our girl, Derek corrected. She's ours. After the speeches, after the congratulations, Derek found Sienna in the therapy room they'd named after her father, the Thomas Matthews safe space. Hey, Mama. He wrapped his arms around her from behind, his hands cradling their daughter. How are my girls? Tired. Happy. Ready to go home and put our feet up. Your wish is my command. He kissed her neck. But first, I have something for you. Derek, you've given me everything. Not everything. He handed her an envelope. Open it. Inside was a deed. To the building next door to the center, the one that had been for sale for months. Derek, what? Expansion. More therapy rooms, a dedicated art studio, space for a teen program. His eyes sparkled. I know you've been talking about it. So I bought it. Merry early Christmas. Sienna turned in his arms, tears streaming. You bought a building. I bought our future. More rooms to change more lives. More space for this. He touched her belly. And any siblings she might have. More of everything good. I love you. She kissed him, their daughter kicking between them like she approved. I love you so much. Love you more. Not possible. Watch me prove it for the next 60 years. They stood like that, wrapped in each other, in the center they'd built, in the life they'd created from a rainstorm and a lost child and a love that had refused to be anything less than extraordinary. Outside, Chicago glittered with November lights. Inside, the Matthews Center hummed with purpose and hope. And upstairs, in the office Sienna barely used because she preferred being with families, a plaque waited to be hung. The Matthews Calloway Center for Child Advocacy, founded by Sienna Matthews Calloway, love shows up. Every single time. 3 months later. Sienna gave birth on a Tuesday. Elena Lorraine Calloway came into the world screaming, perfect, with Derek's eyes and Sienna's stubborn chin. Lorraine held her first, crying so hard she couldn't speak. Diane held her second, whispering promises about spoiling her rotten. But when they placed Elena in Sienna's arms, when Derek sat beside them on the hospital bed with his hand on his daughter's tiny head, the world went quiet. We made her, Sienna whispered. We made her, Derek echoed. And she's perfect. What do we do now? Derek kissed Sienna's temple, then Elena's forehead. Now we love her. We show up. We build a life so full of joy she never questions whether she's wanted. And when she's old enough, we tell her the story of how we met, in a rainstorm, helping a lost boy, 2 strangers who became everything. That's a good story. It's the best story. He looked at his wife, his daughter, his entire world in one hospital room. And it's just the beginning. Elena yawned, tiny fist curling around Derek's finger. Sienna leaned her head on her husband's shoulder, exhausted and elated and so in love with this life they'd built from wreckage and hope. Derek. Yeah, baby. Thank you. For what? For stopping in the rain. For seeing me. For loving me so fiercely, I learned to love myself the same way. Her voice broke. For giving me everything I didn't know I was allowed to want. Derek's eyes were wet. Sienna Matthews Calloway, loving you is the easiest thing I've ever done. And I'm going to keep doing it, every single day, through every storm, for the rest of our lives. Promise. Promise. Elena made a soft sound, and they both looked down at her. This miracle, this future, this proof that love could weather anything. Outside, rain began to fall on Chicago. Inside, a family held each other close. And somewhere, in the gallery of the Matthews Calloway Center, a painting hung, a woman's silhouette filled with children's handprints, books, and hope, titled simply, "She Taught Them to Fly." The End. And the Beginning. Final shot, the family of three silhouetted against the hospital window, rain streaming down the glass, Derek and Sienna's foreheads touching over their daughter, the city lights twinkling like promises. Fade to, love showed up. And it changed everything. The end. Are you crying? Because this love story just ended us. They got everything, the center, the marriage, the baby, the family. Drop one final comment. What was your favorite moment from this entire journey? From the rainstorm to baby Elena, what made your heart explode? And would you watch their story all over again? Thank you for following Derek and Sienna's love story. Some loves are worth fighting for. Some loves change the world. This one did both. If you loved this story, share it with someone who believes in second chances, grand gestures, and love that refuses to quit. And remember, your own love story is out there, waiting in the rain.
Thank you so much for watching till the end. It truly means a lot to me. If this video touched your heart or resonated with you in any way, please show your support by hitting that like button and subscribing to Emotional Voyage. Your support helps us reach more souls on this journey. Until next time, take care of your heart.